there's a hero in all of us. Welcome to day one of the Fixed Ops Roundtable Automotive Avengers event. Here to remind us that we're destined for greatness is Katrina Ness of Northwood University.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Katrina Ness from Northwood University. It's time to suit up and help us find the missing hours at the Fixed Ops Roundtable Automotive Avengers event. Are you ready to join our team of heroes? Let's get started. Automotive Avengers assemble. Suit up and join the action using the chat feature on the right side of your screen. Just be sure to select everyone and not just host and panelist. Shawn Butler is our great colleague and tireless superhero who wages a brave fight against cancer every day. Let's get an update and help his family.
Good morning and welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. This is an event that we've been looking forward to for some time, the Automotive Avengers. We had no idea when we decided on this theme that there would be a lot of events that would happen this spring and summer and fall. Shawn Butler, our great friend and hero, is with us. He's the Fixed Operations Manager at Bristol Honda and Johnson City Mazda and Acura. Shawn, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Ted, thank you so much. It's great to be back. I mean, I'm feeling a lot better mentally, which is and you involving me with this Avengers has really been a boost and picked me up. So thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Shawn, we really appreciate you. We've been following everything the last many months, and I will say, you're on panels on this event, and well, first of all, bring us up to speed. Okay.
Okay.
How are you feeling? How's the treatment going?
So I try to do an update every couple of weeks when I'm doing chemo, but I had actually a life coach reach out to me who is very well known, and I had no idea who he was until I researched him, and he asked me to start doing things weekly. He said, you should do this weekly because men need to hear this message. And so the message is be proactive with your health, right? Get out front. If you don't feel right, if it doesn't feel right, it's not right. Go get checked out. I didn't do that. So what happened to me was I started feeling bad in February. I didn't go get checked out till June. So I lost 4 months that I could have already been tackling this bear, right? They only gave me a 33 to 42% chance to make it to the first of the year. I'm going to make it. Ain't no doubt about it, right? I'm just keep plowing forward. But the pain is incredible. As long as this tumor is in me, I have like a 10 to 12 pain scale all day long. I take oxycodone and I take morphine. I've asked prescribed by the doctor, and all it does is take the edge off. That's how bad it is. Yeah, until they shrink the tumor enough that they can operate and remove it, I have to deal with this. It's going on like 9 or 10 months. It's approaching a year. January, February will be a year. And it's really bad. Like, they tried to kill me a couple weeks ago, put me in the hospital, dehydration, a loss of potassium.
But thank God you went to the hospital.
Yeah, they said I should have died. And thank God I didn't go to the local hospital, because I'd have been in the ER and probably died waiting. I went to my hometown. I had a 3-hour drive to make it there. I don't even know how I got there. I don't remember driving there, but thank God I did, because when I walked in the door, they immediately, put me on fluids, rushed me over to the ER, and they thought I should have coded from cardiac arrest. My potassium and sodium levels were so low. So they don't even know. They can't explain it. So if that didn't kill me, guess what? This cancer ain't going to kill me. We're going to make it, but I'm going to need your help, right? We're getting ready to hit the holidays and the first of the year. Thank God for everything that everybody did for me. I thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart. Besides the bills that insurance paid, we paid out almost 30 grand, right? And that's about how much the GoFundMe account had earlier in the year, right? So the GoFundMe account is wiped out, but thank you. Our bills are up to date, right? We're making payments on some things because, it's astronomical, but we've paid most of the stuff off due to your generosity. So come the first of the year, everything's going to reset. I'm going to have to pay all the insurance stuff over again. Sometimes I miss 3-4 days in a row of work due to chemo every other week. So I'm going to need your help. Again, I'm asking for your help. My goal is to get $50,000 together by the first quarter of the year, and that will carry me the whole year of everything over and above the regular expenses, which I'm paying the 7 or 8 grand per person out of pocket. My wife, most of y'all don't know, she is awesome. She was forced to medically retire from her nursing career earlier this year, so we lost that income. So we've just been on one income since January. And, it gets kind of tough sometimes when we're facing these expenses. And thank God y'all came through and helped me out. When I say y'all, I mean everybody out here that's in our family. I have thousands of people messaging me. I live on those messages. I live on those text messages, the phone calls. They keep me energized and pumped up. So keep those coming. The prayers and support are the most important thing. Financially, yes, I'm going to need some help after the first of the year, or it's going to take me years to unbury myself. So thank you. So
Shawn, the GoFundMe page.
Yes.
FixStopsCares.org. We can go to that page. That is still the place to go.
Leads directly to the GoFundMe page. Yes, sir.
All right. So we're putting that up on the screen now for our audience. Yes, you can hear the call to action, everybody, for Shawn Butler, our great brother, our great friend in Fixed Ops. He's a fighter like no other. All right.
I hate to ask. I'm a prideful person, but anytime when you go from 200 pounds down to 130 and you're in this kind of battle, one thing you don't need is the financial stress. If you can ease that burden, it makes everything else so good. That's why my mental outlook is so good, because I'm not sitting here worried about having to pay off $30,000, so thank you.
And your wife, Robin, is amazing. We've had a lot of interaction with her, and she's another really dedicated.
She's awesome, and she loves it when she gets phone calls from you, Ted. She calls me right away. Hey, Ted just called me, checking on me, and she's very grateful too. I mean, she's more than grateful because she's a stay-at-home mom now, forced to retire with Lily, our 6-year-old, and so she's being a great mom, a great wife, a great supporter to me, my personal nurse, and it's just amazing. She's diabetic. She wears some kind of insulin pump that's like ungodly amount of money a year, and she's a cancer survivor. So she's susceptible to everything that comes along. As now, I'm getting ready to start wearing a mask probably next week because my white blood cell counts are dropping because of the chemo. It's not dangerous levels or anything like that, but I just need to protect myself.
Absolutely. Bring us up to speed on your daughter, Lily. Tell us about her. How's she
Lily.
doing?
Lily's struggling right now. She's really in a bad place mentally. She goes to the guidance counselor at school almost daily. And I hate it, man. It really breaks my heart that she's so upset because she'll tell people that, my dad has cancer and he's dying. So, I hate that. It really hits my heart. And she's struggling because she's afraid that I'm going to die, So, I mean, it's hard. Definitely hard.
Yeah.
She's such a good girl. She's so pretty. She's smart. She does gymnastics and cheerleading, and she's the smartest one in her class. She always gets A's. She's a great kid. I don't want to leave her. Her and my wife are my motivation. I'm not planning on leaving anybody soon.
I know you're not. And you're the strongest person I know, Shawn. Shawn, you're at work every day. You're at work right now.
Yes, sir.
Talk to us about that. I mean, that's gotta be therapy for you.
Yeah, it is. This is my life, right? Helping others. That's what I do. So by being at work, I'm able to help my team that I took 2 years building. We setting records almost every month. I got a great crew. The cohesiveness is ridiculous. You'll see 4 or 5 guys working on one car when one guy gets stuck in a heartbeat just to help him get out. Our racks are full every day. When I got here a year and a half, almost 2 years ago, they were only having like 20 cars a day. Terrible, right? So now we're up to about 60, which is a really good number for us based on our shop size and capacity. We're getting ready to build a new shop and expand our size. But for me being able to be here is I probably would have died by now if I wasn't working. Honestly, I would have just gone a really bad mental place. And just because I love this industry, these people, this job, seeing others happy and successful is a good thing. And I want to be a part of that. When I always try to find people's why, that. What motivates you? Is it time off? Is it education? Is it money? Is it more time with your family? What is it? I don't care. And as soon as we find that why, I start focusing on that and bringing those people out. And it's just great to watch them bloom and grow. I get so much satisfaction when somebody has a wedding. They got enough money, they can get married, they can buy a house, they can get cars, they can take care of their kids. Somebody comes to me and says, "Hey, my wife's got this." I'm like, "Okay, go do it." Right? Oh, okay. Well, last manager didn't let that. I said, "Well, he don't work here no more." So it's always about the people, right? Family first. If you got something going on at home, take care of that first. We'll make it. I got plenty of people working.
Shawn, you're not only going to work and you're doing the treatments. I know the schedule, and I know that knocks the heck out of you.
Every other week for 3 days. Yeah, it knocks me in the dirt for sure.
But you're also traveling because you live a distance from where you work. Tell us about that, because you're traveling hours. I don't think a lot of people realize.
Oh no! So what I do, I work in East Tennessee, right? Right across the Virginia line, coming down 81, where Tennessee, Kentucky, North Carolina, and Virginia all come together. There's a point right there. I work just right at that point. It's called the Tri-Cities area. It's really beautiful here. Yeah. It's about 15 to 1,800 feet above sea level, so we have mountains surrounding us everywhere. It makes you feel like you're in like a New England setting or something like that, with the mountains just right with you. But we have the warmer weather. It doesn't get as cold here. They don't see a lot of snow. So I drive 3 hours to work every Monday morning. And I live here Monday through Thursday. I have an RV that's parked on the river in Bluff City, Tennessee, which is dead in the middle between Johnson City and it's really nice. It's on a park-like setting. It's got a river. It's got bluffs, and everybody there is like me. They're either here working and they go home on the weekends, or they live there permanently. So it's very quiet. There's no traffic. It's really nice, and I enjoy it. I enjoy my quiet time in the evenings because I'm a workaholic. And so therefore I can work 12 hours a day without my wife fussing at me because I got nothing else to do. Right. So it works out just fine.
And you go home on Fridays?
Fridays. I leave whenever I want to on Fridays. Usually 2 or 3 o'clock. I like to make sure the week's ending well, and I work from my laptop when I'm doing chemo treatments. I'm still working. I'm answering emails, phone calls, text messages, doing video chats, or video meetings. Like we have a meeting every 8:05 every morning. I do those by Zoom, just to participate. I don't lead the meeting. The shop foreman leads the meeting, but I'm there. So it's just, yeah.
Shawn Butler's story is incredible. Okay, what you're telling us, and I know, and we have a panel coming up later in the show with Daryl and Michael, and we're going to talk about those shop meetings, and that's every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Every day. So advisors at 7:15, the whole shop at 8:05. 5 minutes, and just brief state of the union address. What's the goals for the day? Where's everybody at? Is there any issues? If there's any issues, I want to know about it so I can tackle it. Right, because it's really weird, and I don't know why this is, but there's a lot of little stuff that comes up that nobody can figure out that seems simple to me. So probably because I've been there and made the mistake before, and I know how to fix it. It's usually how that happens. I'm hard-headed. It takes me 2 or 3 times to get it. So that's part of my problem why I'm so sick right now. If I wasn't so damn hard-headed, I would have gone earlier. But if I wasn't so hard-headed, I probably would have died already. So it's kind of a catch-22.
Shawn Butler needs our help, everybody. Here we are. We're a week before Thanksgiving. He is a fighter. If he's a fighter like no one else, okay?
Yeah, I'm
None
back
that
up
I
to
have
140.
ever seen. And his family needs our help as well. We've helped them through this first round of medical bills, okay, and covering what's not covered by the insurance. We need everybody to reach out. FixedOpsCares.org. Do it again, okay? If you haven't done it, it's time to do it now. Thanksgiving is next week. This man is a fighter. He's the superhero in all of our lives, and he's right here with us today. And look at him. He's in dealership. He's working. He's fixed operations. And Shawn, there's nobody. I don't think cancer knew what it was up against. Okay, when it met you, but you are simply amazing. And Fixed Ops community, we need everybody in automotive to reach out and help this man over the next couple of days and into the rest of the fall and into the balance of the year. And as he said, in 2024, there's a lot more stuff that his family is going to face, and we need to rally and help.
I'll have several surgeries in 2024. When the tumor shrinks. So yeah, that's going to be big. And that'll probably put me out for a couple of weeks at a time when I have those.
Okay. Shawn, we're praying for you. Everybody, we need your prayers. We need your help. Shawn appreciates all of your comments, your feedback. He appreciates it like no other. And it's time to rally the troops and circle the wagons, everybody. FixedOpsCares.org. You see it on the screen. And we're all there for you, my brother.
Thank you, Ted. Hey, Ted, going into this Avengers panel, I can't wait, dude. I'm so pumped up. It's going to be awesome. 4 days of fun. 4 days of fun. Everybody needs to participate. The agenda is out there. Look at it, pick what you like, and watch it directly. We'll be participating via chat during the videos, so it'll be like a live situation.
I know.
And then, going forward, you can watch it anytime on YouTube. It lives forever.
You'll see Shawn Butler, everybody, throughout the event, and please help Shawn Butler and his family at this time. A real fighter, a real superhero, a real automotive avenger. FixedOpsCares.org. Let's all help him together, and let's help him through this fight. And Shawn, we love you, and
thank you.
We're here for you.
Thank you, everyone. I can't thank you enough. Words can't express the gratitude I feel towards every single person. So I just don't have enough words.
Everybody, let's go. It's time.
Yeah. All right. We're done. Yeah. But yeah, anybody that knows me knows I don't run out of words often, but I do when it comes to describing how people are helping me. Yeah.
Help Shawn, help his wife, Robin, their little girl, Lily, and the rest of the Butler family. So it's time to do it. It's time to give back, everybody. So please help us. Please help our Fixed Ops community and our great brother, Shawn Butler.
Thank you.
Wish us luck today. Seatbelt, John. What are you forgetting?
Oh, mirrors. You sound just like Dad. Hey, Mom, where do you find the oil stick thingy?
Thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, Sheila, anything you need. Okay. Have a great game, buddy.
Thanks, I'll try.
It's your first time out. Relax. Have fun.
Wait, you're not going home? Mom, can I? Oh, seatbelt. That was awesome.
Can we take some time to think about it?
Of course. Mom. All right, bye, Mom.
Have a good day, honey. Drive safe.
Life is about connection, having a support system to lean on, and roads to endless possibility. At every turn, guiding the way, we are building the connections that move you.
Our next two speakers are two industry leaders here to tell us about leveling up and assessing talent in our industry.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We are in an industry that's all about relationships, not just the car business, it's the people business. With us are Jeff Bogaski from Affinitiv. He's the Chief Revenue Officer. And our good friend Fred Fordin, who now has his own company, Fordin Automotive. And Jeff and Fred, welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks for having me. Fred, it's always great to connect with you. I'm a veteran, so I'd like to say, hey, happy belated Veterans Day to all those just went by a few days ago. So thanks for having us.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
So, Jeff, I didn't realize the relationship with Fred and yourself goes back some time. Kind of bring us up to speed and tell us a little bit more about that and how you met. And
yeah, so Fred's company, ASR Pro, was bought when I worked at Dealer Track. And I'd applied for, some roles to get promoted and get into the leadership spots. Fred came on board, brought a small team with him with ASR Pro. A posting went up, and I didn't know Fred. I didn't know who he was. I'd seen him speak on a couple calls, but didn't know him from Adam. And I looked at it and I said, well, how am I going to change the outcome of the prior times I applied for roles? So I applied still and did what I always do. But then instead of going through the process, I reached out to Fred directly and I said, hey, Fred, my name is Jeff Bogaski. I got some information. I said, I'd like to get to know more about ASR Pro. I'd like your deck so I could start studying that. And from that point forward, I think Fred saw that I was eager and wanted more, but we connected and had a relationship. And quite frankly, Fred catapulted me into that leadership role, which is, here I am a decade later, still in leadership as a CRO and had a VP title over at Cox Automotive before that as well. So it's been a great professional relationship, but also it's been a great personal friendship that I've had as well too with Fred.
Yeah, it's that's a great story, Ted, because clearly everybody sees things through their own eyes, right? So, how did we meet? It was 4 days before the closing of Dealer Track buying my company, but all of the DMS salespeople at Cox at Dealer Track, which was a 26-person team, were going to be in Park City having a meeting, and I met Jeff sitting across the table. He had a beer and a piece of pizza in his hand. And, I knew I had to find a sales leader within the company. And we started to talk, and I just thought, this guy's got what it takes. There's something about his persona that just works. And, he applied, but we met after that. And, it has been a great relationship professionally and personally. We've become good friends.
Fred, take us back. What prompted you to create ASR Pro? How'd you get there?
So, the ASR process was actually built by Atcon as a paper and pen process back in the 70s. And while I was in Dealer Academy, I learned about it. And, I had already built a number of pieces of software for the industry. And I looked at that process and just immediately knew I could automate this and enhance it greatly. And so I did, and I just did it to do it in my store at the time, my BMW store. I didn't envision being in the software industry. I built it. I gave it to 2 other GMs at Sonic. They used it for a month, and they came back and said, hey, dude, do you know what you've done? I immediately took it away from them, and my tendency at Sonic was short-lived from there on, and I went out and started going door to door.
Wow. Our industry is not for a lack of talent. There's a lot of great talent in our industry. It's just amazing to see. And, even though I've been in the business, as have you both, a long time, I still meet people that I didn't know about even 6 months ago or a year ago. Jeff, tell us a little bit about your journey to lead teams and lead people in our industry.
Yeah, so when Fred gave me that opportunity, I had never led a team. I think the thing, Fred, that when I traveled with Fred, he's got his own style, and I tried to imitate Fred, and that's impossible to do. Like, I'm not Fred, and Fred was like, be you, but be your best you. And I think being your own chameleon in anything you do is so important. Everyone has a gift. You have to find what your internal gift is and bring that out. And I think he said I had a persona. I have a certain personality I'm carrying. I have certain qualities of leadership that are not saying Fred doesn't have, but he's great on stage at a big presentation and owning a room. So that's been near and dear to me to to be true to myself, be my own chameleon. And when I look at others, I try to think like that as well. Like everyone has that unique opportunity. So when I'm out and I'm interviewing for either leadership roles or even maybe a sales role, there's certain things I look for. And it's amazing. I've probably interviewed hundreds, if not 1,000 people over the last decade or so. And I want them to come researched, right? Like they understand. If I ask a pointed question, what product would best suit your talents? They should be able to respond back with that product specifically. Then the next thing is I want them to trial close me. Fred's like, I never did that before, but it's amazing. If I interviewed 1,000 people, I would guess 5 or 10% did some type of trial close at the end of the interview. We're going to send this leader, or we're going to send this sales rep out in the field miles away, if not states and states away from us. We're going to trust that they're going to go out and close, but they're not willing to ask what they need to do to earn the business right there in the interview. So it's a really important part to that. And then the other thing that when I think of all the interviews I've done, people that come with plans, like descriptive questions back. If we do this, what will happen? Or if we ask for a 60 or 90-day plan. I had a girl one time. I said, what would you do in your first 30? She's like, what do you want, 30, 60, or 90? And she held them up. And she said, I could send either one of them to you digitally. I'll never forget who that individual was because she stood out. So as we look at leadership, or we look at our own self as we're trying to go, remember, every day in your current role is an interview for your next opportunity. Do your research, find ways to stand out, and don't be afraid to ask or trial close what their concerns may be at the end of any interview. It's the opportunity you have. We ask our reps to do that when we go out into the field, or we ask our advisors to do that on the drive. We as individuals trying to grow our career, get that next step, we have to take that and own that as well.
Jeff, give us a little background. What do you do now? I know you're the Chief Revenue Officer, but what does that entail at Affinitiv? What do you do?
Yeah, so Chief Revenue Officer, I oversee the majority of all the front-facing teams in the at Affinitiv. So I have sales teams, I have the support, the training and installation team. So it's a vicinity of about 100 individuals. So any front-facing individual, for the most part, comes through my organization and my leadership. And I have several direct reports underneath me as well that lead smaller teams. So I have 4 pillars I look for to build success. And it starts with people. While Fred and I are on here talking today, and it ends with culture. But in between that, you have to have the right process in place, which Fred and I worked on diligently when we first got partnered up. And then you have to measure the right activities. Now, in my history, people who measure how many phone calls you make, you typically find your lowest individual having the highest phone calls. So that doesn't work. So you have to find out what's important. And if you can do all those things successfully, you can build a great company, have great careers. And as a leader, I focus on how can I help other people have great careers as well and achieve more money or success in their career. My former place I worked before, I had 10 direct reports, and every single one of those I moved up the ladder internally, and I was really proud of that. You try to find that internal talent and move them up, and it creates that great culture that you want.
Fred, you've been dealing with a lot of talent for many, many years. What did you see in Jeff? What did he have that that others need or need to be aware of?
Anytime I've gone into a new circumstance or situation, I look for somebody who's going to complement my weaknesses, right? I know what I'm strong at. I don't need another me. What I need is somebody who can do the things I don't do well. So Jeff just described this whole sales process. I'm not a salesman. I'm just not. Now, I can present something I believe in strongly, as well as anybody on the planet. But ask me in an interview to trial close this, and I haven't studied it, I don't know it, I don't believe in it, I'll fail at that interview. Mm-hmm. So, there's different strengths. When I went to CDK, the first guy I brought on as a director was the guy who had been at CDK the longest within the choices I had. He understood where all the bodies were buried. He knew what all the systems were. Me walking into CDK, they have so many systems. I wasn't going to be, it would take me a year to learn all that. But Martin was able to be the strength to my weakness immediately. And so that's what I saw in Jeff was he could run a sales team. That's not my strength. My strength is building a team, but ask me to go out and do the day-to-day running of a sales team. I'm not Jeff Bogaski. That's not what I do. And so I saw that in Jeff, and I was like, that's the guy. That's the guy. And the funny thing was, he talked about it earlier. Dealertrack had pushed him down a number of times on applications for management. And when I chose Jeff, guess what they tried to do? They tried to tell me, no, he's not the right guy.
Really?
And he ended up with my boss's title eventually. The guy who told me Jeff wasn't the guy. So, spotting talent, being able to identify what it's going to take. I don't know how you get to that point, but clearly that's been one of my strengths, is being able to pick the right talent.
Jeff, I think, as I look around the car business, there's probably nobody better on that big stage than Fred Fordin. All right. He belongs on that big stage. That's his arena. What are some of the things that you've learned from working with Fred over the years?
I talked about it earlier about being your own chameleon, but you have to build a process and you have to build great people around it. And I think what he said a minute ago, you have to believe in what you're doing. If you really want to own the direction and you want to make change and you want to change people's lives and dealers' lives and make them better, you have to believe it. You have to have it internally. I think that's so important in today's world. You don't want to go to work. You want to go somewhere you can make a difference. And I think that winning attitude and that approach that Fred has internally was probably the most important thing. And then, owning who I am, like I talked about earlier, I think that's so important as well. I cannot be Fred, and Fred said he cannot be me. But I can tell you this, I still drink beer and eat pizza. So nothing's changed over the last decade in that regard.
Jeff, you hear a lot on the dealer side now, especially the last couple of years, about dealership culture. A lot of the panels that we've been on, a lot of the folks who've been on the roundtable, they talk about that culture now. Jeff, I never heard that word 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And now it's come up. And I would imagine there's a distinct culture at the companies that you represent, like Affinitiv today.
Yeah, if I think back when I was a kid, I'm in my mid-50s, my dad went to work at a union job. He drove a truck in, and he didn't care about culture. He had a union job, and he came home, and it didn't matter how bad it was. That's what he did. As we start to phase into our later part of our career and the younger generations comes up, it's ultra important. If you don't have a great culture, you'll have a hard time attracting the right talent. I mean, you hear about Google and Apple in these places, and they have nap rooms. The three of us would have never imagined saying we go to work and take a nap, or you get to go eat strawberries in the kitchen because they provide them every day. But that is the way you're going to attract that top talent coming down the road. And I don't mind going somewhere where I can have berries and take a nap, but I wouldn't take a nap because I'm not wired that way. But we're all going to grow, and we're going to leave this to someone else's hands. Getting a culture keeps good people around you for a long time. If you could find good people, you could find a way to move them up the ladder. You're building even a better culture. And all those other things are niceties, but they're important for the next generations that are coming up.
It's a good point. Fred, what do you look for when you look to add talent?
Great question. So, Tim, it depends on what it is, of course, right? So right now, where Fordin Automotive is a company of 6 people. And we're out actively looking to add to that. So when I'm looking for developers, right, it's about what's their talent, what's their work ethic. We've got guys that I see things coming in GitHub at 2 a.m, 3 a.m. These guys are plugging away. I wake up at 7:30 and I've got a list of emails that are coming in from all of the work that's being done. These guys don't have to be working through those hours, but they are, and they're still going to be going out at 10 a.m. They're not, it's not like I'm working at night, I'm not working during the day. It's dedication to the process. It's dedication to a belief of where we're going, right? And when you can get the people that will get enrolled in that belief, that's when I'm looking for talent. That's the first thing I'm looking for. It's back to the culture that you guys were just talking about. I try and build a culture where everybody belongs rather than has a job. And that's, I think even in my dealerships, that was the most important thing, was the culture. And I learned that at Hendrick. Hendrick Automotive is a group that even back in the 90s when I worked there, their culture was the most important thing they talked about. And I took that with me wherever I've gone. If you're hiring salespeople, obviously, that's Jeff's area. You got to find the people who you want to tell them, go buy a boat, go buy a bigger house, right? All the things we used to tell salespeople in the dealership. You want them to believe so strongly in A, their capability, B, what the product you're giving them to sell, that they're confident to go build their lives, that they actually believe and see the results happening. So, what am I looking for? It's an intangible. It's something. It's what I saw in Bogaski, right? It's that thing where I go, this guy's got what it takes. There's just something special there, and I don't know how to describe that other than I feel it. I sense it.
If I could add a little, so when we got acquired, or Fred got acquired, he brought over a team, and there's a guy named Jason. I won't put up the last name, and he was like a sales engineer. He did demos, knew the product real well, did some installs, and I got to know him. And I'm like, one day, I'm like, hey, you can sell. He's like, I hate sales. I said, perfect, never sell. Help your dealers be better and focus on that. And that guy's had a phenomenal career. He's living in a bigger home, the success, but he's not selling. I always tell people the best sale is to never sell. Like find the issues and concerns of the dealer, listen by asking questions. And the other thing I always tell people is never demo. Like demos are boring, right? Present solutions back based on what you've learned. And I think sometimes we get lost in that, but that's a great success story. And Fred knows what I'm talking about, but he's had a great career. He's got a great family, and those things make you really happy when you see somebody that you've taken to the next level and they've succeeded really well.
We're speaking today to two great leaders in the automotive industry, Jeff Bogaski and Fred Fordin. Last question, gentlemen, for today, lightning round, if you will. I'll come to you, Jeff, first, and then Fred. Jeff, you've been leading for many years now. What would you tell someone trying to take a similar path in our industry to yourself? So first, Jeff, and then Fred to bring it home.
Great question. Own your direction. If you want something, don't let anyone else tell you can't do it. I heard Sarah Valentine talk on a call. She's like, I never knew my career would go this way. Like, I don't know that I knew my career would get to the level it's gotten to either, but I never gave up and I never let no's hold me back. We have the Avenger thing going on. Like my vengeance is I'm going to prove everyone wrong, right? Like I go out every day and say, if someone said no, I want them to look back later on and say, holy cow, that guy's got it done. Now, I also think that you have to keep in mind a leader is successful because of people. And we're here talking about people, but we have to, as leaders, remember that we don't do all the daily work. We lead the daily work, but the team does it. And you have to stay true to that. So don't let people tell you no. Your every day in your current role is an interview for your next job, especially if you're doing an internal job transfer. Do your research, come with plans, set yourself apart. If you have 100 people, you have to figure out how do you stick out in the top 2 or 3 out of that 100 individuals that you're going to go against. And doing those little things will matter. And I'm telling you, all these interviews, like the trial close, it's amazing in the world that I'm in, how few people in interviews try to trial close. But you'll set yourself apart just in that alone right there. So hopefully that's helpful to all of you. Been helpful in my career as well.
Fred.
Yeah. So, love the question. And I think this is perhaps where I differ a little bit from Jeff. It's for me, I'm not looking at what's my next job, what's my next interview. I'm looking at what's my next solution, right? What's the next company I'm going to build? Even when I'm working for a CDK, or for the year I was at a dealer track, it's what is this leading me to? What opportunity am I going to ferret out of this? I learned a ton working at CDK. It was perhaps the best education I've ever had. 3 years there, just taught me a ridiculous amount of stuff that I thought I was an industry expert, right? And then all of a sudden I go and they brought me in as an industry expert. And then I go there and I start to learn a whole lot of stuff I didn't know. So for me, it's always about what's the next opportunity that I'm going to build. I didn't have anybody tell me I couldn't do anything I want. My dad was a self-employed entrepreneur who succeeded and failed and succeeded and failed. And I never saw him not try the next thing until he didn't. And when he didn't, that was perhaps the biggest lesson I got in my life, which was I am never going to quit. When they put me in the ground, that's when I'll be done. And so, I think it's that mentality that has always kept me going and kept me wanting to build the next thing. This year that I had non-compete and I kind of did some consulting, but for the most part sat around, was the toughest year of my life. Because while I'm thinking and planning, I can't be doing that. That was hard. But for me, it's all about what are we going to build? What are we going to build, and how are we going to affect everybody else in doing it?
Jeff, Bogaski, and Fred Fordin, on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, thank you for all you do for our industry. And I want to wish you and your families very happy Thanksgiving next week, and very grateful to both of you for your guidance and your leadership in our industry.
Thanks.
Everybody, Fred Fordin and Jeff Bogaski with us today here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Need help increasing sales for your dealership? With just one place to connect your data, solutions, and results, you can finally align your teams, improve performance, and power business efficiencies across all your stores. Easily source inventory, bring more traffic to your dealership, and speak to your audience to boost conversions with multi-channel digital solutions. Drive repeat business and transform your operations with a data-driven, integrated suite. Turn shoppers to sales. Increase vehicle acquisition. Maximize service scheduling. Enhance service lane experience. Own your retention marketing. Drive service conquest. And convert service to sales. Our suite, your solution. Contact us today and deliver first-rate experiences to your consumers.
Joining us next are the leaders from the Northwood University 60th Annual International Auto Show.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings and Sophie Jordan-Collins. Ted, we have an amazing group of people with us. Gentlemen, please introduce yourselves and what you do with Northwood University.
I'm Elgie Bright. I am the chair of the Automotive department, and it is so great to have the Fixed Ops Roundtable here today. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Ted. Thank you, Sophie.
My name is Cole Briggs. I'm the general chair of the auto show this year. Excited to be here.
Mike Stoll. I'm a senior director of customer success at CDK Global, and I am fortunate to be an adjunct professor every Wednesday here at Northwood University.
Well, amazing. I agree, Sarah. So, Cole, let me start with you. What is the Northwood University International Auto Show?
Thanks for asking. This auto show specifically at Northwood is the largest outdoor new car 100% student-ran auto show in the Northwest. It is an amazing time. All the students come out to participate in the auto show, and again, it's student-ran. And what better event to have than have it being student-ran?
So, Cole, to follow up that question, what does it mean to you to have an auto show this large be student-run?
So, one of the biggest things that I as a student at Northwood and also other students at Northwood pride themselves is the hands-on learning opportunities that Northwood provides. What I take and I learn in the classroom, I can directly apply right to the auto show. In departments like finance, the marketing aspects of it, the managerial aspects, logistics is a big one. I'm actually a supply chain and finance major, so that was a huge one. But that experience is what gets me and other students prepared for our future careers.
And Northwood is so unique with the work that you do here. Yeah. And the fact that this is the 60th annual auto show, international auto show, I mean, that speaks volumes as well.
It is amazing. It's crazy to see how this auto show used to be very small. And so many small ideas over time with different boards, different people running it, have evolved to such a great and tremendous thing. We're really excited.
Mike, let me ask you,
for general chairs like Hull, okay? Is there a history or a track record of them going on within the automotive industry and going on to higher things?
It's not only the chair, it's what the chair does to develop his captains, to develop the leaders in the different committees, and watch the entire leadership and development of these students elevate themselves from the time they become a freshman as they work up through their entire career and onto their master's degree program here. So it's very fun to watch, Ted. I can't explain it because the passion that they deliver over time and to watch them grow from their freshman year to where our chairman is this year and in his master's degree program has been an absolute blessing to watch.
Elgie, Mike told me early on to keep an eye on this year's chair, because that person is going places, and I could see it as well.
Yeah, I agree with Mike, Ted. Cole Briggs, one, I'm a fan. Two, to have this young man lead this effort from not only concept to execution, put his team together. He's really become part of the staff. I mean, I rely on him so much, and he interacts with the industry, takes care of issues, and all these millions of dollars of assets out here are under his charge. So it's a trust thing. The young man next to me is, for all of you out there, you want to get with him quick because he's a hot commodity.
Well, and I'm going to add to watch Cole. Sorry, buddy. To watch Cole and his management style on how he developed other leaders throughout the journey, to be able to lean into areas where they were uncomfortable and him help them get there. So they all worked as a complete team in order to put helium in the entire balloon. His leadership gifts and what he's done to help others become this leadership role, hold them accountable, helping them when they were struggling has been extremely exciting to watch. So
you guys are going to make me blush.
Do that.
Thank you.
You have a gift. You have a gift.
Thank you, man.
Well, and Elgie, I mean, it is incredible. And Cole, this is such an amazing auto show, and there's so much going on campus. Elgie, who are we going to meet this week? Who's all here?
Well, there is a number of executives of Fortune 500 companies, top 150 dealers, suppliers. But even with all of that, even with all that horsepower, the number one entity that you're going to meet are these amazing students. You know, a lot of us are looking backwards. These students are looking forward. I mean, they're hungry, they're humble, but most of all, they're capable. And Sarah, I'd say if you stop in any booth and talk to some of these students, you'll get a sense of what we see every day.
So Cole, the show is student run. Tell us a little bit about what it's like to be, well, first of all, how many student volunteers are involved in the International Auto Show?
So this year, we have exceeded the number last year. We're at more than 400 student volunteers this year, which is amazing. And they all have different backgrounds. It's not just automotive or aftermarket majors. You have finance. I mean, I'm finance and supply chain, but you have all the other majors that Northwood offers as well that are participating in athletic teams, and everybody wants to get it all.
Are there any requirements for the students, to be involved?
So obviously you have to be enrolled as a student, but other than that, no. You can get involved at whatever level you really want to be involved. I wanted to have hands on everything, which is why I strove to be general chair, and I think I was logistics chair the last 2 years actually on the executive board. So I was already making my way up.
So cool. Practically, if a student out there does want to get involved in this auto show, how can they go about that? And also for next year's auto show, since this happens every year, how can a sponsor get involved in the show?
It's a very good question. The main thing I would touch on, if you do want to be involved in the auto show as a student volunteer, you'd most likely want to enroll. And big thing, if parents out there, if you want to enroll your student at Northwood, we'd love to have them on the auto show team as well. Overall, if you want to sponsor, if you want to fundraise or donate to the show, that's another thing that we pride ourselves on, is that we, as students, we focus on the industry connections that we have or the ones that we're trying to build. And we reach out to these sponsors and donors to help us get ready and to prepare for the show financially. And so you can reach out to our donor relations share next year, and also to Elgie Bright. And we have an automotive department phone number that you can reach out as well. And our website. There's a multitude of different ways to get involved financially. And we appreciate all the support.
Bright E at northwood.edu. Bright E at northwood.edu.
Gentlemen, this has been so incredible to learn so much about everything that's going on here at Northwood University. And I just want to ask you 3 lightning round questions. So final thoughts for the roundtable and the viewers out there today. What is, and I'll start with you, LG, what is the one thing that you have learned about the automotive industry because of your relationship and involvement with Northwood University?
It's exciting, it's engaging, it's enthusiastic, but most of all, it's rewarding.
This year's theme stems from what I've learned, and our theme this year is Connect. The connections that you make pretty much any stage of your life, but specifically at Northwood, are going to help you go a really long ways and help you have a really good show.
I would say that it's passion, energy, and focus on the team concept in order to provide growth in the students' future leadership opportunities in the entire network.
Well, everybody, on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, thank you so much for everything that you're doing for our industry. It's an exciting time. I think this is probably the most exciting time in our industry that I can ever remember, and a great time for fixed ops and to be in the fixed ops industry as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Everybody, we are at Northwood University for the International Auto Show. We're at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Stay with us. We're going to be right back.
You might have noticed that the Fixed Ops Roundtable is on the move, and that's because we are now hosting pop-up events. We are on our way to a dealership near you with spontaneous events in amazing dealership spaces to highlight the hardworking people in retail service, parts, and dealership-wide. Stay up to date with where we are headed next by following the Fixed Ops Roundtable on social media.
So being a legacy automotive retailer, we've used a number of different companies over the years to help us train our people and educate our people on everything from sales process to customer service to you name it, anything relating to retail automotive. But in today's world, particularly since COVID, we really set out to try to find a partner that had a much more progressive, contemporary approach to automotive sales, automotive service, customer relations in general. And when we did that, our research led us to the folks at Quantum 5.
Anything that you can do consistently the same way gets better. So what Quantum gives us the ability to do, or has taught us how to do, is follow a very specific framework that delivers a very specific result every time. And that has been invaluable both to our veterans that have been in the business longer than me and the people that we're hiring new. Quantum came into the store as a partner. They've executed on that on every call, every interaction. And what our veteran staff finds to be the most beneficial is they get to continue to learn.
We know that Quantum is more than a vendor, they're a partner. They're actually a part of our business, a core part of our business and our daily processes. When I got into the car business many, many years ago, it was about control this, control the customer, control this. Well, now customers have as much information as dealers, so now it's more about controlling the process, understanding the customer. And that's what Quantum brings to the table. It allows you to have control of a process, understand your customer and your customer's needs, and deliver the relevant information that they need to make that informed decision, ultimately in purchasing a car, but starting with gaining that critical appointment. Quantum puts our client advisors on a pathway to prosperity. Our newer advisors see our seasoned advisors and the success they're having, and the fact that they're bought into the system and they've been on this system for years shows the new client advisors that if you buy in similarly, you're going to yield the same results, if not better. I can't speak enough to what Quantum has meant to our business and to the growth and development of our client advisors.
This panel is packed with heroes who are here to help us find the missing hours. It's the AutoMax TechVengers panel.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable, the long-awaited panel. The AutoMax TechVengers panel with our great friend Joe Lockard is here. And Joe, you've got a superstar cast, and I see none other than Spider-Man is joining us today.
Yes, thanks, Ted. It's always great being here. And I'm always the party pooper, and then I realized we're doing the hero
Avengers.
Yeah, and I couldn't do it. But Robert, God bless you. That's awesome. I'm impressed.
Yeah, very impressed. So you got a
I
great
did dress
lineup.
up like Superman once. Our whole family, we usually do a group Halloween theme, and we did Superman and Wonder Woman. I have the costume. It's just I couldn't do it. Next one.
All right, Joe, I'm going to step out of the way, and
Thank you,
it's
sir.
in your capable hands moving forward. Here we go.
Appreciate it, Ted. Hey guys, yeah, and thanks everyone for joining us. We've done a bunch of these. I don't even know. We're probably 8th or 9th at this point. We got a couple new members here tonight, so I want to go around, do our intros, and then we have another really, really, really interesting topic that we're going to jump into here. So I'll go around the room here. First, I want to get to our new guys here. Jim Sabino, Alan Bass, both from All-American Ford in Paramus, New Jersey. Jim, you're the fixed ops director for the store. Alan, you're service manager. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having us, Joe. It's a pleasure to be a part of this. It's a really important topic for our industry, and looking forward to the discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. And how are things in North Jersey? Good?
Things are well. Things are very well. Business is great. We survived that strike. Thank God it's over in our rearview mirror now. And, it's back to business, and we're doing well. We're doing well.
So in our pre-production discussions here, we talked about Taylor ham versus pork roll, and North Jersey's Taylor ham, right?
Taylor ham all the way.
All right. All right.
Yes.
So many good eats in Jersey. All right. Thanks for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. Tom Druzynski. Tom, I believe this is your third time with the group, correct?
Yes, sir.
You've been a great addition. I appreciate having you here. Tom is Director of Service Operations for the West Her Automotive Group in the Orchard Park, New York area, and sunny, beautiful Buffalo, correct?
That's right. It's gorgeous, at least for another couple of days.
Absolutely. Absolutely, my friend. What do you think? How you feel about the Bills this year? They're all over the place, man.
They are all over the place. But it's one of the things that we always say is, we sell hope better than anything else. Every year is going to be our year. Walked away from that Cincinnati game last year, and there were already people in the parking lot just yelling, "Next year, we got them next year."
Nice, dude. Yeah,
we're holding on to hope. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
As a Browns fan, I always feel the kinship because there's not many other teams that can really relate to the pain of being a Browns fan, and you guys you're right there with us. So.
Listen, we gave away Josh Allen's truck today, so it was a good day.
No way.
Yeah. His he had a Shelby, Shelby F-150 Raptor.
Nice.
That was his personal truck that he signed for us, and then we had a whole event on.
Really cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's very
good for you guys. Well, thanks for being here, man. I always appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Next, Shawn Kingrey. Shawn's VP of Fixed Operations for the Kaiser Automotive Group. Shawn, how are you, my friend? How you doing? I know you gave us another health scare there.
I tried my hardest.
For it. You're a soldier, man. I didn't even expect to see you in here.
Nah, I feel great. What are we, about a month and a half out now officially, I guess, from heart attack day and bypass day, but I feel great. Thanks for having me as always. I've been here, I think, on all the panels, and I know Mark and I talk a lot, this and Robert, this is definitely the panel I get the most feedback from on the streets, hands down. So
good, man.
Good
Yeah,
panel.
you look great. No joke. You look fine. You're unstoppable over there. So
there are better ways to lose 23 pounds. I can
no, we were all thinking and praying for you, and it's great to have you back here, man.
Thank you. Thank you for all the support. Thanks, Ted. Thanks for everybody. And no more Diet Coke. Oh God. Anyway, we'll keep going.
No, I see. It's funny. Me and the team, everyone, we were like, we should do something nice for Shawn. And somebody mentioned a case of Diet Coke, and I'm like, I don't know if you should be having Diet Coke.
I get one every morning and one every night. That's it. That's what. And I get beef one day a week rather than 3 times a day. And I'm
sorry, my friend.
That was not the plan. So anyway, no, I feel well. I feel great actually. So
you're here. All
That's
right.
it.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate having you here. Next, Robert Migliaccio, Service Director for CMA Valley, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Stanton, Virginia. How are you, my friend? Also, Spider-Man, Peter Parker.
I am here, man. We are ready to unmask this topic, I guess.
Oh, that was bad.
There's a little bad, but hey, we're here. Just ready to have some fun with this. This is a great topic I think we're going to bring to light, and it's definitely going to be a different situation all the way around from what we're used to talking about. So I think definitely going to drive a great conversation.
Yeah. Get into some stuff on a personal level and go a little outside the box here. I agree. It should be good. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here. Last, certainly not least, it's Marco Zwanenburg. Marco is our resident automotive technician of the stars, 21 plus years experience, currently with Naples Luxury Imports in Naples, Florida. How are you, my friend?
I am doing just fine, Joe. How are you guys doing? Great to be back. And like you guys said, let's do this. It's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be a good one, out of the box, but right to the point.
Yeah. And I'll jump right in here because I do think we have a lot to discuss. So I'm going to kind of present this in an interesting way. My favorite TV show of all time is Seinfeld. Any Seinfeld fans on the panel?
Sure, man.
I'm diehard. I know all the episodes. So I think they're the prime example that I can think of in kind of my generation of the characters on the show being so good at their roles that they became those roles. And of course, as a result, ended up being typecast into those roles. And really outside of Jerry Seinfeld, who's, Jerry Seinfeld, no one really ever was given a true chance or accomplished anything significant after the show. There was just George, Kramer, and Elaine. And that was that because they were so good at it. Fair or not, as they say, that's show business. So why am I bringing this up on our tech panel here? Because it seems that we may have kind of a similar situation in our industry that's not talked about a lot and not really discussed with any seriousness. The massive demand of highly skilled technicians, the unique nature of the skill set, the amount of training involved to become that high level technician. At the end of the day, they become valued so much, but they also become just a technician, and that's what they're seen as. This is Marco, the master tech, right? And that becomes your identity, so to speak, is being that high-level automotive technician, and you're not given a lot of opportunities outside of turning those wrenches, and frankly, you get labeled. Ironically, I'd like to mention that Seinfeld hit on this. There's an actual episode where David Puddy, who is Elaine's boyfriend at the time, he graduates from being a mechanic to selling cars. There's an entire episode at a car dealership. It's an awesome episode. But at one point, so Jerry's talking to him and he says, just jokingly refers to technicians as grease monkeys. And Puddy takes exception to it and he says, I don't know how many monkeys could take apart a fuel injector. And that's really what we're talking on here, right? That grease monkey label, obviously with the amount of training, the technology advancements in vehicles, it's not what it was in the 70s, but even as far as we've come from that grease monkey label of the, 70s, 80s, that show was filmed in the 90s, there's still that label of technicians being just grease monkeys, blue collar, 9-to-5ers, whatever you want to call it. So what can we do about this? Let's talk openly. Do technicians deserve a shot at potential leadership roles? Are they capable of transferring this unique skill set into other roles within a dealership? I just want to kind of get everyone's point of view here and see if we can kind of help, push the envelope a little bit and see if we can spark some debate and conversations in the industry. Tom, I want to come to you first because we've talked about this, and you've mentioned that you guys have an actual concrete plan in place that maybe plants some of those seeds proactively into your technicians' heads and gets them pointed in that direction for if they want to go that route, correct?
Correct. And so, we've kind of found that, leadership isn't just for managers. It's not for people that are looking to become managers. If you go into any shop nowadays, you're going to have a person that really is the heart of that shop, that is the leader of the shop. When they talk, everybody in the shop turns to look at that person. They're looking for the answers. I think it's wrong to only look at that person as the hours that they can turn or what they can produce. You miss out on an awful lot of good leaders. And that's something that we've done, created a couple of leadership programs and invested a little bit more into those level technicians that really are the leaders within the shops. And it turns out that not only do they make even better leaders within the shop, and you start to give them a little bit more of a path, but many of them turn out to be fantastic service managers. Right. Two of the greatest up and coming service managers we have in our company right now that are actually running, a store that is, either first or second in our group as far as the largest producing. We're both technicians, right. And they're both team leader level technicians, shop leader level technicians. And had we said to either one of those guys, hey, listen, you're too important in the role that you're in for you to ever be able to progress out of the shop. I mean, what are we doing? The reality is these guys now, they have more training than most doctors by the time they get to really a senior level kind of a technician position. But the difference in my estimation is that the human body is the same, right? So what Shawn went through, that body is the same now as it was 20 years ago. Maybe we know a little bit more about it, but it's going to be the same 20 years from now. The heart's the same 20 years from now as it was now. But the vehicles change constantly. So our technicians are constantly learning new skills. They're constantly dealing with incoming technicians. If you look at some of the higher turnover spots within our industry, it's in the shop. So they're constantly learning how to deal with new personality types and wrangle them and dealing with different people, dealing with the sales departments, dealing with the advisors, managers. Some of your most skilled people and most skilled leaders are right under your nose. I guarantee it.
Yeah. And a bunch of great points in there. It's funny that you bring up doctors in the human body. And I love doctors, and I've had good doctors and bad doctors. But how many doctors do you see that they get out of med school and they stop learning? They're like, oh, I'm a doctor now, so I'm going to keep doing it the same way and preaching the same stuff that I preached for the past 20 years. The type of human being that sees that, oh, I'm going to have to keep learning. I'm going to have to continue advancing my skill set to stay in this industry and doesn't leave and isn't scared by that and is feels empowered to do that. That's a high level person, right? That's not somebody who's only calling in life and only purpose here is to sit around and fix cars. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Another Seinfeld line, by the way. Sorry. But I think you're right in that we're kind of missing a boat on what it actually takes to not just start in this role, to flourish in this role, to grow in this role. You talk about the dynamics within a shop, the turnover within a shop, some of the things you have to overcome to reach this skill level of technician. I'd agree 100%. I'm interested on the interest level from technicians and kind of the age, diversity there. Do you see a lot of your guys in the shop starting early on and saying, hey, I know this is what I want to do, or is it happen kind of later in the career?
It tends to be something that, we will witness, service managers will witness, directors will witness, and start to kind of call people out for that. We also look for hand raisers. We do have a system where they have the ability to say, hey, listen, I'd like to do more. And then from there, it's our job to figure out exactly how to do that, whether that's outside training. We partner with corporations like Dale Carnegie. We've done in-house leadership training where we've brought different people from different job roles into those leadership trainings, and we've administered those. But a lot of times it is you start to see the ones that are interested and have that proclivity, but then but then that raise their hands and actually want to do it. Read an interesting study where this is the first year where wages weren't the number one reason that people were leaving a job. You know, like wages was always at the top, and now it's career path and it's training. And they want to know that there is something else for them if they want it. Many of them don't necessarily even want to get out of the shop, but they want us to continue to invest in them and teach them those other skills that are going to be able to allow them to grow the people around them and at least give them, you know, something else to aspire to other than ABC.
Yeah, punching the clock, right. And look, you know, to bring it full circle, because we do, you know, talk a lot about recruiting and retention and try to focus around that on this panel. You know, I can't think of a much better recruiting or retention tool than, hey, here's what your next 20 years can look like. Here's what, you know, end game and a true career path looks like.
And who's going to garner more respect from your shop as the leader, right? As a service manager, somebody that's done that job.
You bet. Absolutely. All right, sir. I appreciate it. Jim, I want to come over to you and let you and Alan speak both as well. You guys have what, 11 stores in your group, I believe?
No, there's four.
There's 4 stores in the group. Okay. You know, with a multi-store group, you know, I'm assuming you guys see a lot of movement within the group and you know, it means more openings and more opportunities. Is this something that you guys have seen, experienced in your time with the group? Is this something that you guys are interested in working towards? What has been your experience of seeing techs who want to stay in the industry, maybe even want to stay within the group, want to stay at the store, but say, hey, I don't want to do this anymore for whatever reason?
Alan, why don't you take that, Al?
Yeah, I definitely see there. You know, there's opportunities there. The younger guys that are coming in get mentored from some of the older technicians. The older technician, you know, the senior technicians, should I say, they're the hand raisers. They're the guys that want to move into a different direction. Me, I started off my career as a car washer and move my way up through the business through a lot of hard work, crazy hours. I was the first one in, last one to leave every single day. 6 days a week. I just, you know, people notice me. Hey, you know, that guy's always here. We should try to move him up. Me and Jimmy started talking about 8 years ago, and we've been together ever since.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to ask you what your career path was. So how, if you could kind of walk us through that timeline, were you a technician after that, or what did it look like?
So I went to Rockland Community College, which is a technical school.
Okay.
Graduated with an auto tech degree. Tried it for a little while. Didn't really like it. Went to a store, became a prep technician, detailer. I was there probably about a year and a half, and ownership goes, you know, we have a prep manager that's got to go on vacation for a week. Can you fill in for us? No problem. A week later, I was told, you got the job. So I just kept working my way up through the ranks.
No kidding. Very cool.
I'm all for that. You know, younger guys, I really think that if you show them a career path, I'm a prime example. You know what I mean? I could still been washing cars to this day. So,
right.
You know.
Right. Well, Jim, I'm curious. So, Jim, did you promote Alan? Were you the one that found him, identified him?
Well, no, I'm with this company here with All American for the last 23 years. And, you know, I actually started in the 80s as a technician. I worked for Oldsmobile for a long time ago. And I had an opportunity there to become one of the service advisors at the time. Was retiring, and the service manager asked me if he liked the way I talked to people and communicated and had a great personality when it came to take a road test with somebody and things like that. And, you know, I checked it out and I loved it. I fell in love with it. I guess you can say I turned my wrench in for a pen. And back then there was no computers, no DMSs. Everything was handwritten. It was pretty cool stuff. And I just went through the way, you know, up through the ranks and learned and listened and observed. And it's been a great run. So the last 23 years with All American Ford, and we've grown tremendously since then. Alan, I reached out to him. He was actually working at Manhattan Ford, which was the only company-owned store in the country, and Ford had every car line under one roof there in Manhattan. Unfortunately, they closed, and all their employees went to other places. He ended up going to Brooklyn to a dealership over there. I connected with him, ultimately getting to meet with him, and then offered him a job. He's been with us for the last 8 years, doing a great job. Career path is one of our main focuses, our goals. Our most senior level guys are, it's tough. Their bones are starting to ache, their muscles, their back, their knees. It's very, you got to pay them a lot of respect because they paved the ways for the younger technicians entering this workforce now. I sit on 2 boards, advisory boards for technical schools. I do a lot of in-class meet and greet, face-to-face. I kind of prep these these students, these graduates on what's expected of them and make sure that they understand that education, it has to be a continuing thing. It's just once they graduate this school, it's never ending. New technology is forever coming on these products. The EV market is just, there's so much things that the senior level technicians aren't used to and have to relearn all of that. It's tough. And are they looking for an exit strategy? There's no question in my mind. It happens on a daily basis. They have conversations with us. We try and accommodate and offer them different paths within the organization. And at the same time, we're trying to mentor and get these new hires acclimated to the dealership, what's expected of them, the training, the new technology that's forever coming, and get them into retail, into the business. Flat rate is, it's a scary thing for some of the new technician hires, but you don't throw them into the deep end of the pool. They're on salary, they have guarantees. You want to make sure they're taken care of. They have a peace of mind on Friday when they get their check, that you have to pay them well. That's in the top 3. Pay your people well, and that's absolutely, you cannot save money or cheap, come in with a lower end base plan. You have to pay these. They are so important to the success and the backbone of fixed operations. Without them, we don't exist. Technicians are our lifeline, our oxygen. They are our make or break. So we have to do everything in our power to ensure that they have a good work environment, a clear forward path in their career development. That's what we try and do. Sometimes it works very, very well, and other times you hit roadblocks. It's how you overcome them.
Well, and we've talked about it numerous times on this panel. And thank you, Jim and Alan. Thank you both. It starts with leadership, and Tom, you hit on it a moment ago and we hear it all the time in recruiting. Techs want to work for another tech. They want to work for someone who gets it, who's been there before. Shawn, I want to come over to you and give you a moment here. You do operate within medium-sized group and have a number of responsibilities and have to constantly be on the look. Yeah, everybody needs techs. Everybody needs techs. We've been working with you, looking for OEM techs, local techs, et cetera. But you have to have the right people in leadership roles as well. As a retention tool, obviously that career path is huge. The flip side to that is possibly losing a great tech. It's another hole to fill. It is a challenge, but you like to think at the end of the day, if you're doing the right thing and you're setting example for the rest of your team and you're promoting from within and you're taking one of your own and putting them in a leadership role, long term, it's going to benefit you with your other technicians and with recruiting, I would think, correct?
It is. And, I think what you have to be careful of with the technician shortage that we all know we have, it goes back to where service advisors were probably 10 years ago. You had a guy who was making a good 6-figure income, quite frankly, as a service advisor, and you were afraid to promote him because he was your A guy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're running into. Marco, and I know Marco will speak here. We always follow up with Marco, but I think that's what you're going to fall into. You've got the A technician, the pardon my language, the god of the shop that everybody goes to, the go-to guy, and you're going to go to an old school GM, just picking a little bit. Joe, you work with most of our GMs, who is going to say, well, I can't promote that guy because he turns 70, 80 hours a week.
Yeah, now you're filling that role, right?
But then you're losing that guy because he can't do it forever. I mean,
right.
You can't look like Marco when you're 30. I'm sorry, love you, Marco. But no, but we all talk about it. You know, the broken back and the hurting tools. And I'm going to tell you, you know, if you guys want to look at something, we have 4 collision centers, as you know, Joe. All of our collision center managers came from the shop. The collision centers have been doing it for years. The main shop's probably behind the times, quite frankly, and they forgot about it. We always promote advisors, but we don't look at the technicians.
Yeah.
Again,
Well,
I think
and look,
go ahead.
It's tough, and I use the sports analogies all the time because it's not always the right fit. But you think of great football players that are horrible coaches, horrible GMs, and then you got your mediocre quarterback that comes in and is just an absolute flipping genius as a head coach. You see it a lot, so it's not always necessarily that A-level tech too. And I think that's what's important is just for you guys as leaders to just have your eyes and ears open, and you have to pick out those intangibles, those qualities that you see. It's tough for us as a recruiter because if I'm recruiting a service manager, a fixed ops director for a store, for a group, it's rare that I can come to them with a technician and say, this guy's sharp, this guy has a ton of experience, he wants to take the next step. If the conversation always starts with, well, is he interested in being a technician? It's like, no, he's not. I just told you.
He's past that point, and that's okay. But I think that's a mindset change. And yes, I know I've been doing it for 29 years that we all have to make. And if you've got that technician, the Marco of the world that can actually talk to a client and get somewhere with the client, why not think about it, guys? Because at the end of the day, if you don't do it, Tom, to your point, if you don't do it, somebody else is going to.
Yeah, it's true. All right, sir. I appreciate it. Robert, I want to come to you. You know, you've discussed, and I see it on social media a lot. You've set an example as a leader with your technicians by being hands-on, spending time with them outside of work, taking them to dinners. You guys play basketball in the morning. You know, I got to think along the way here. You know, I'm going to embarrass you a little bit, but you're probably inspiring a lot of these technicians, some of the younger guys, and they sit there and think to themselves, this is who I want to be. This is a path I want to take. I've spoke, you know, several times about CMA and your group and the leaders you have within your group. And I know you guys are a forward-thinking bunch. What's kind of your guys' take on that, your options that you give for technicians? How do you view the you know, opportunities for technicians outside of working in the shop?
Yeah, absolutely. First off, I mean, if I would love to think that's the case, and I really hope it is, that I'm inspiring people like that, because that is the greatest compliment we can get from where we are in our position. The biggest thing with that, and it takes into that, is, you know, getting up, getting out of that seat, getting in the shop, and really kind of learning who these guys and ladies are out in there in the shop and what their goals are. So focus for us in our auto group in the beginning of the year, and then we do it halfway through the year and make sure we're on track. We ask everybody, now this goes from upper management down, they do it with me to my managers and then me to my staff down. We ask them to put forth their 3 personal, 3 professional goals. So 3 things that have nothing to do with the work industry, 3 things they want to accomplish outside of work, and then 3 things within work that they want to accomplish. So that way we can put them on track for what they're looking for, get an idea of what they want to do. And then on top of that, we can help hold them accountable for what they're looking for. So, you know, that promotion for a technician may not be the next advisor, next service manager. His level might be, I'm going to go from a B-level tech to a master tech making 50, 60, 70 hours a week. So his goal of his progression may be somewhat more in the shop, as well as transitioning out of the shop. And I think when you get out there and get granular with them and actually spend some time with them to find out what they want, that's when you really put the focus on their needs, their desires, and where they want to be. And it helps grow them to where they want to be. You know, from the company standpoint, we put forth every effort to put that out there for them. Even down to my apprentice technicians, when I hire them in, there is a worksheet that we go through for their progression through the shop to help them understand what they can do to get to the next level. And then with that, also what they can do to become the next teacher in the shop. So they may be the next lead apprentice for the new apprentice coming in, if you follow me with that. So they could be the next leader within the shop, helping bring up the next group of technicians that are coming through, if that's the desire and want. And very similar to Tom, our auto group reaches out to all different facets of leadership training. I think we've gone over it before here. We do the first Wednesday of the month is for every associate through the auto group, which is about 1,100 associates. We hold a Zoom call the first Wednesday of every month, and everybody's allowed to get on that. We do pretty much a leadership and health kind of training to bring you up in your personal goals. And then we do leadership training the second week, and then they do GM and executive management leadership the following week. So that way everything is progressing through constantly and giving us building blocks to keep working forward on it. And I really think ultimately it's just going to come down to the care and the wants of the people out there for us is what it comes down to. And I try to interact with them. I try to get on their level. I'm a little different than some of the other guys. I didn't come from the shop. I'm very similar to Alan. I worked my way up through the detail and up through the backside. I worked through the parts and then into the service side of the world through my career. So, I was always the hard worker aspect of it. And I think the generational aspect of where we're at is there's a little more want and desire and need to know what that is going to be for them. Not just if I work hard enough, I can get the keys tossed to me and I can be the next guy in charge.
Right.
But actually a career goal and a career path that says, if I want to be a GM, here's what I have to do. Here's what I can do. And I can get there. I can own a dealership myself at some point in time. Again, it comes with hard work. It comes with all the sacrifices that you got to put in to get there as well. I don't think anything deserves to be a handout at the end of the day for it. I think it's definitely earned in some regards, but just circle back. It's got to be known. You got to know what their position is and what they want to do.
Yeah.
And just not be afraid. Like Shawn said, you can't be afraid to bump those guys out and get them to kind of transition over if that's what they really want to do.
Right. One, and I think you got to pull that characteristic out of someone. I mean, I never saw myself as a leader when I was in my mid-20s, late 20s, hell, mid-30s. It just kind of comes out of you, right? But you got to have somebody help pull it out of you and point you in that direction. And then you find out, oh, hey, I enjoy doing this. I like helping other people. I like teaching other people. I like seeing other people succeed because of the things that I've instilled in them. So, I do think you have to start there and see who goes down that road and who's even interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that you guys are, finding out what they want to do on a personal level too. Cause I've talked a million times before how I'm not big on work-life balance. I feel like it's all one thing. And if you're getting to know where someone wants to be in their personal life, the professional stuff usually ties in and you find out, hey, this is someone who's looking for a little bit more than just being a tech. So I love all the things you're doing there.
Yeah. And again, I think a lot of that, just the conversation being out there, and if they talk to you, they might find out some of the transitions they want to make may not be it. Cause when you get to that position as a leader, truthfully, you're really not about you anymore. It's about everybody else. So
absolutely,
we're here to watch everybody else grow. And that for me is where I get my biggest win for me. When I'm watching them win, I'm watching them get the hours, set goals that they want to do. When I'm watching them transition into different positions and growing, that's where it really kind of takes the cake for everything and really settles in. So,
yes, appreciate it, Robert.
Absolutely.
Marco, you're last. I usually go to you first. I wanted to save you for last today because, of course, you're a technician and you're a high-level technician. But anyone who knows you, who's tuned in this panel a lot, who follows you on social media, knows that you're also a high-level human being. You're a high-level thinker. You, my friend, are a very intelligent person and someone who is very much capable of exploring other roles in our industry and another industry. So I know this topic is something that hits close to home for you, and you've mentioned to us that you love where you're at right now. Time and time again, you've told us how you ended up there, the circumstances that brought you there, how much they mean to you. You've told me don't even bother trying to come to me to recruit me to go somewhere else. But at the same time, you said they are fully aware that you do have a clock running for where I don't want to do this my entire life. What are some of the challenges you've faced from trying to get yourself out there a little bit in that regard? And what are some things that you feel you're capable of and feel other technicians are capable of?
Well, first of all, let me get back to a few things that were said here by the other panelists. First of all, what Robert said is like, you just do not know what you have in the shop unless you talk to the people. What are their aspirations? What do they want in life? Some of them are perfectly happy just turning wrenches for all their lives. Others want to move up. To Tom's point, Yes, we are more educated than doctors every damn day. The list of trainings that I have for Mercedes, Jaguar, Land Rover, you name it, there are hundreds of certifications in there. Hundreds, people. How many do doctors have? Maybe 3 or 4 hanging on the wall behind them. I don't have enough wall for all my certifications. Here's another point, a really good one. Tom said, who's holding their hand up? You will find that not always the best leaders in the shop are not always the team leaders, the shop foreman. It could be the one person that does not have that title, but has the mindset and the personality to put themselves last and carry other people. Again, here we go. What Robert was saying, what Tom is saying, you got to look, you got to listen, you got to be in the shop. You cannot run a dealership from your office. Here we go. What Shawn said about body shops. The term, we've always done it this way, has been killing fixed ops since fixed ops was created. Knock it off, people. And here we are. Oh, we can't find technicians. Sorry, self-inflicted. For years and years and years, we've been treated like trash. Oh, we can get technicians everywhere. And where are we now at this point? So now here you have someone like myself that is just all these, we talked about in the last panel, all this technology. There's only so much that I can just keep up with. Like I said, I started off with dwell angles and contact points to where we're at now with the EVs, etc. There just comes a point in my life that I'm just like, I'm done. I just can't keep up. Now, besides these certifications I was just telling you about, how about other skills that great technicians have? Let's talk about active time management. Let's talk about organizational skills. How can we take a car apart with all these bolts and nuts and tensioners and chains and wires and connectors and put it back together and have nothing left over? Because we have organizational skills. We have solving skills, problem solving skills on the fly right there. We react quicker than anyone else in the shop. Wouldn't you want to have someone like that in management, especially if they can talk to people, not just clients, but co-workers, to other technicians? So let's talk about, why do people want to leave the shop? There could be various reasons. Like for me, I'm just kind of done. I've done this for 27 years. I'm done. Then you have people that want to have the title. Then you have people that want to have the money. You max out as a technician, and a service manager or director can take you to the next step. Some people want it for prestige. Some people want it for whatever. Now, what we are forgetting a lot of times is that retention is recruiting. Let's get that very straight. People talk. How do you get people to work in your dealership? Because the tool guy knows, like, oh, dude, it's like that dealership around the corner, everybody there is happy. Oh, man, it's like usually when someone comes walking in, it's like a marriage. We're not in there for 5 years, 4 years. We want to be there. We want to keep growing and evolving.
Right.
Okay, so Shawn says, well, here's a 70-hour guy. We're going to miss 70 hours. Not really, because under that 70-hour guy, there's 2 other guys that can do more, but there is not enough hours because that 70-hour guy takes it up. So now instead of the one 70-hour guy who is physically limited to make 70 hours that week, now you can have these extra hours come down with more upsell potential to 2 other guys, so you could potentially gain 90 to 100 hours a week. Right. People, take the blinders off. Keep staring, not just here, but everywhere.
Well, not to mention their tech buddies who they go to and say, hey, we've got a master tech running the shop now. He's in his prime, but he chose to be the leader and be the service manager now. Come work for us and work for somebody who's actually been there before. So I think it makes a huge difference for recruiting and retention.
Absolutely. And look what Jim was saying, and with Alan, like where he came from.
Right.
All the way up. Then Jim recognized that. It's like, wait a minute. Here, come on. We recognize our kind. We know that, no. You didn't come over walking out of Harvard. You read a few books on how to run a business. So now you're the service manager. And a car is a car. No, I'm sorry. You do not belong in a dealership. You should work at like a department store around the corner. Granted, not every technician is going to make a good leader, is not going to make a good service advisor, is not going to make a good manager. Absolutely not. Neither is every college graduate that has an MBA.
Sure.
It all comes down to, and here we all come back to what we keep talking about, culture. We can grow them just as much as we can grow our own technicians, we can grow our own management. Now, the only problem is you're going to have more technicians eventually wanting to move up or retire out of the technician world, and you have management roles available. And here is where the trick comes in. Now I'm going to start walking around and asking around, like, huh, wait a minute. It's like, Mr. So-and-so is like, I'm looking for, I need a technician. No. That's what I'm trying to get away from. I want to, no. I don't need anyone. This is the stigma that is so heavily labeled right here. Because we are in such short supply. But there is an answer to all of this. But everything that was mentioned here on this panel by everybody, if all of us combined would run a dealership, we'd blow the rest of the world away, guys. Seriously.
Yeah, no argument there. No argument there. And thank you. Thanks everybody for contributing here. And we didn't even get to, and I want to wrap up here pretty soon, but we didn't even get outside of the shop, right? Marco, you mentioned problem solving abilities, and on the variable side, that's all you're doing over there. I mean, that's all sales is, right? Somebody comes in, they got a pain, they got a problem, and you're making the pain go away. So when you do have someone who is more personable, such as yourself, and can kind of, hit both sides of that. They got the right brain and the left brain stuff going on. I don't think it's out of question for them to move over to that side and keep them in the dealership in that world if that's something that interests them. And I do think that the skill set is very transferable.
Joe, amazing panel. Great job on putting all this together. Where can our audience learn more about AutoMax and what you do for our industry, including these
Robert's putting his mask back on. I don't know how I'm supposed to focus with that stuff going on. The website is automaxrecruitingandtraining.com. But we're all over social media. I can be reached. That's actually my cell phone number down there at the bottom. My email's at the bottom. Cell phone is 609-705-8646. I love talking. I love talking shop. If you have any questions about what we're seeing out there, what's working for us, what's not working, etc. I love a good tech conversation.
Marco, you see what you started 4.5 years ago?
This one happens when you take me out to lunch, Ted.
Great job, everybody. Marco, thank you so much for all you do for the industry. Tom Druzynski, Wester Automotive Group, thank you. Robert Migliaccio at Carter Myers Automotive, thank you. Shawn Kingrey, great to see you back. Great to have you back. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
And Jim Sabino and Alan Bass in New Jersey at All American. So thank you for joining the panel and all your great contributions today as well. And Joe, amazing stuff as always. So,
always. Thank you.
Always one of the very best panels. So congratulations. Everybody, for more information, reach out to Joe Lockard at AutoMax Recruiting. You see his email scrolling across the bottom. That's his cell phone number. Reach out to him. So many of our dealers here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable utilize AutoMax. So he does a great job. So everybody, on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, I want to wish you and your families a very happy Thanksgiving next week. And thank you for all you do.
Same to all of you. Thank you.
Everybody, the TechVengers by AutoMax here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
With great power comes great responsibility. We're springing back into action at the Fixed Ops Roundtable Automotive Avengers event.
Take a peek into the future of the industry with Don Hall, President and CEO of the Virginia Automobile Dealers Association, in a discussion with TechVenger.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Don Hall is with us. He is the president and CEO of the Virginia Automotive Dealers Association, a great friend of the dealer and the retail community. Don, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Ted, thanks a lot. It's good to be here, and it's good to talk to your friends and your audience today as well.
Don, you've got an exceptional background, and the work you're doing there in Virginia is amazing. You've got a retail background, and you've headed up that association for a long time. And I look forward to this opportunity and being able to ask you a few questions today. And also, coming on the heels of Veterans Day just a few days ago, thank you for your service to our country as well.
Ted, thank you very much. I think my background is unique, but that uniqueness is available to anybody who pursues the automotive career as a landing place and a long-time commitment. There are unique opportunities within our industry, and I am grateful having served the United States Marine Corps as a young man, 4 years in active duty in the infantry back in the early 70s, and it made me who I am today. So, Semper Fidelis, thank you for the comment very much.
You and I were talking in the green room just before we got started, and it's amazing. Our business is about cars, but really deep down, it's about the people. And you're so observant in some of the comments that you made. And perhaps you'd like to talk a little bit about that before I ask you a few questions here today.
I've had the privilege, as I indicated earlier, Ted, of working with the auto dealers for a long period of time. And one thing over the years, they talk about the various assets that they have, the facilities, the franchise, and so forth. The reality is this, and I think the smarter dealers in this country know this very well. Our biggest asset are the people who work for us day in and day out. And therefore, they're the ones we should be doing the most for. A happy employee or associate in your dealership organization will mean a happy customer who comes back for many things, to include future cars, used cars, and more importantly, service work as well. So it's important to have a happy workforce because you'll have happy customers.
So true. And I think we're at a unique position in our industry. You and I have both been in for a long time. I cannot recall, Don, a time like this where there are so many things happening at once and so many forces at work. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit about that today, if I could, here at the roundtable. First of all, you personally, can you paint a picture of how you think our industry is going to change over the next, let's say, 5 years? What's ahead for us?
I think, Ted, before I get into that, let me just say that change for change's sake is never good. The change our industry is going through is exciting. And if I were a young man today in this business, I would be very excited with the opportunities, not only with technology and what it can do for us, how it can make a better buying experience, but also with me as a member of a great organization and the opportunities to grow within that organization. So what a great time to be in this industry. Bravo. Embrace it, celebrate it, and understand clearly that we are evolving. But we're evolving in a way that we're going to be having great customer buying experiences, great customer service experiences. The customer wins, and we win because of happy customers is how we all get paid. So I think the times right now are indeed changing, but why not embrace that? And more importantly, not to offend anybody, but if change doesn't excite you, and you're at an age or a stage in life where you really don't want to make changes, what a great time to sell out. It's a great time to move on and allow those who understand that change is here and change is what's going to make us a better industry and allow us to do a better job for all concerned. So it is an exciting time right now, but certainly we're under great changes as we speak.
Don, just to provide a little bit of color for the audience, the Virginia Automobile Dealers Association, approximately how many retailers in your association there in that state?
We're close to 500 car dealerships, new car dealerships and truck dealerships in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We're selling new and used vehicles, well over 1 million, 2 million, 3, some years more than that, new and used cars under normal circumstances. So it's a thriving business. We have the Northern Virginia sector, which is huge dealerships. We've got the Hampton Roads sector, which is huge dealerships, Central Virginia into Richmond. And then out in the Southwest, in Roanoke and those areas, also are large organizations throughout Virginia.
A lot of dealers from the Commonwealth have been involved in the roundtable. You and I spoke briefly before we got started today about Liza Borges, and I understand that Carter, her father as well, and father.
Liza represents really what I call the tip of the spear, and I say that in a positive way. She is embracing change. She, one of the few, and in fact, very few dealership organizations in the country that's an ESOP, employee stock option program, where her employees own part of that organization. And so they truly are selling cars. And I'm a firm believer that if you're really good in this business, you ought to be entrepreneurial-like to begin with. I may work for XY dealer, but I'm an entrepreneur who works for that dealer. And when you do that, you're above average. When you do that, you excel. And you do that, you reach your personal and professional goals. And I think Liza is someone who really facilitates that philosophy. I have other dealers in Virginia doing the same, but she has certainly led the way with her now probably 1,400 associates working the various dealerships that she owns in West Virginia, Virginia, and now in Maryland.
And what a great proponent for the career path in our industry. I know that Liza did some work for the manufacturer side some years ago, but also promoting women in retail automotive. And here you have Liza, very forward thinking, as you said, and really embracing all the change and really championing that as well. Looking ahead here, Don, are there things right now that you feel that are not fully understood or really underappreciated by either the industry or the dealer community more broadly at this time?
Well, first and foremost, I would say that, you're hearing me speak as an association guy. And to some degree, you might say, well, what does he know? I mean, he's an association guy. He doesn't work the hours I work. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. Well, the truth is, no, I do all the above. In my particular case, I'm one of the very few in the country that have had this background. As you indicated earlier, I worked in the retail car business for 8 years. Coincidentally, worked for Liza's father long ago in this business. And as a result of all of that, this business is such where you ought to be involved in your associations these days, whether it's passing legislation or making sure the regulations that are going on are fair and equitable to those working in the business. But also associations are out selling the following message to dealerships. Your number one asset are your people. Take care of your people. You might make a little less money, but provide your people with a benefit structure that is something that you can be proud of and they're proud of. It's not uncommon in big cities like Richmond and many other big cities throughout the nation. When you start a job, you start with 3 weeks on day one. I still have many, many car dealerships that give 2 weeks after your first complete year of employment. And God forbid if you ever took 2 weeks consecutive or even a week consecutive, hardly. And ladies and gentlemen, we have got to change that mentality. We're not going to attract young people to invest in our business and be part of this industry and to give what it takes. And yes, Liza, your earlier comment is so true. She wants to employ, women and people of color and minorities and so forth at the highest levels in her organization. We should be doing that everywhere in the country, but we need to understand clearly this. We're all parents. Many of us are. I certainly am one. We have children. In my case, I have grandchildren. We need to have time to be there for our kids' activities. We have single parents in our ranks. We need to make sure they have time to do the things they need to do, whether it's dealing with kids, taking them to the ER room, or they got a soccer game. We need to care about our people. In doing so, you'll have a much better experience. You may make a tad bit less money initially, but long-term wise, you will do so incredibly well as an organization. And Ted, let me say this to you. I know what I'm saying is factual. I've got some dealers and dealer friends throughout the nation that have done this, and they have seen the return on their investment tenfold. Care about your people. Give them things that maybe hurts initially. Yes, we got to get more benefits. Yes, we've got to change our vacation policy. Yes, we need to be understanding of single parents and parents that need to be involved. kids' activities. Do those things, your turnover will be cut back extensively, and you'll have a workforce that loves dealing with the customers that you've paid to come into your dealerships.
Don, we agree. It's a longer term play, but it really comes back to that word culture. We're hearing that a lot now in the industry, the focus on dealership culture. And really, that's something we didn't hear. I know you and I in the industry many years ago, but now it's really risen. And with a lot of the issues that have come upon us in the last 5, 10, 15 years, technicians and, how do I grow my people? It really comes back to setting that culture starting at the top of the organization.
I love hearing when the sons and daughters are taking over for their parents, and how those sons and daughters are bringing in these new changes. I've gotten to know the Flo Automotive Group very well, and Eric Flo he and his father have dealerships now in Virginia. They coincidentally went to UVA long ago. Both of them did. And I love hearing Eric talk about some of the things that they're proposing within the Flo Automotive Group that are cutting edge. And this is what, again, excites people. It's why people want to come to work for you, because you're doing things out of the norm, and you're doing things that are beneficial to those folks who work so hard in your organization. So bravo, keep pushing mom and dad, and let them know that you're not crazy, that yes, it may not be the way that we've historically done business, but we must embrace change. And your earlier question, change is upon us. And in this case, this is change that is good and should be embraced. Technology is here. We have a lot of friends out here that provide various technological tools available to us in our dealerships that make us better. Embrace it, because it does make us better. It will shorten the buying process for customers. It'll make things easier for disclosure purposes and so forth. We've got the Fed clamping down on us hard right now in the F&I departments. And we've got to do things differently so that the Fed doesn't put us out of the business. And don't think for a minute, if they have a choice, they will. And so we've got to make sure that we're doing things right. And technology helps us get better at our game.
Very well said. Speaking of change, I want to ask you a little bit about EVs. The state of EVs, that business there in Virginia, and what bottlenecks, if any, do you see hampering the adoption of EVs over the next 10 years? And, what do you foresee? Because we've seen a lot of projections on EVs. We've seen them selling briskly in some states, but now we're starting to see inventories of EVs starting to multiply and stack up around the country. What are your thoughts there?
Ted, one of the blessings of my job is I've spent 36 years, here at the VADA, but I've also been the chief lobbyist for 36 years. So I've been involved with legislators in Virginia for a long time, to include some lobbying even on the Hill in Washington, D.C. The driving of EVs is a political decision made out of Washington, D.C. And I have dealers say to me all the time, Don, customers don't want EVs. They're not asking for them. We don't have the infrastructure. We don't have this. We can't do it. We need to change it in Virginia, where we can only sell ICE and not sell EVs. Your OEM, ladies and gentlemen, are under the same pressure, whether they're under CARB states or the federal standards that have been ratcheted up and are much more difficult, frankly, even than the CARB standards currently. As a result, the OEMs have no choice. It's not so much, and they're trying to slow down as we speak, but pressure on them is going to make it tough, because Washington, D.C., elections have consequences. And Washington has made the decision. And as long as the White House is controlled by the current party, this is not a Republican or Democrat statement, it is a fact that we are going to have EVs, and that's what's going to happen, and the OEMs are going to have to do it. Now, my dealers say, but nobody wants to buy them. If you don't have ICE available to you, what choice do you have? Ted, in your early days in this business and my early days in this business, one of the reasons we love this business is no matter what times we went through, we've been through recessions, both of us have in the course of our careers. Car dealers are unique. They always land on their feet. Even when regulators come in and make drastic, dramatic, harsh changes, car dealers manage to make a lemon into lemonade. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the EV world. At the end of the day, if I have my dream, we'd be EV, we'd be hybrid, we would be hydrogen, and we'd be ICE if I had my way. But I don't get to make those decisions. And unfortunately, right now, with the environmental community controlling Washington, D.C., we are being compelled to sell EVs. Now, people will say, well, what if, the presidency changes to the other party? And what if the Republicans control the Senate and they keep the House? Would things change? The answer would be, sure they would. And for how long? For as long as they're in control. And then they'll come right back. EVs will be a part of our life. Part of the problem is you go to a dealership, and if you've got cars on the lot, you're going to sell what you have on the lot at the end of the day. And so we've got to convince people. Now, coincidentally, we bought an EV here at the Virginia Auto Dealers Association, and we wrapped it. And it says, go to your local new car dealer to buy your EV today. There's a website, and it's been totally wrapped. It's an ID4 VW. I drive it a lot. It's a fun car to drive in town. Maybe up to Fredericksburg, to Charlottesville, down to Hampton Roads, but in town, in that area, I drive it. And they're fun cars. And people that drive locally, it's going to be a fun car. The concern I have, of course, is price. But at the same time, aren't all cars $50,000 or more these days? Yes. Do we have a problem with extending the terms on loans? Yes. Do we want that to happen? No, because then everybody's upside down in the trade. We'll never get them out of the trade with 8-year financing and 7-year financing. And so we've got to figure this out. And there are smart people in our industry that can help us figure this out. But EVs are here. They're not going away. They will be part of our culture, even if there's a pause hit because Republicans take back, they're not going away. And the OEMs, no matter what we think of OEMs, the fact is they're being compelled to do it because if they don't, they're going to be penalized heavily by California Air Resource Board or the federal government. So we're sort of, for lack of a better term, not negative. We're stuck with them. But guess what? They're a hell of a lot of fun to drive. And we need to embrace it and recognize they're not going to go away. No matter who's in charge, they're here to stay.
Back to your earlier statement, Don, the dealers have really proven to be resistant time after time, especially, who could have forecasted these last 3 years? Nobody could have imagined it. It would have been a book that you said it possibly couldn't have happened, any of these things. But look at how the dealers have come back. And you know what? You're right. The dealers figure it out. We figure it out every time. And I don't know another industry, Don, that has come back and has proven to be as resilient as the automobile dealer here in the United States.
It is the reason that I've got my 40-some years in this business, and I hope to have many more to come, because I love, it's infectious, ladies and gentlemen, the resiliency of this business. They're positive people who say, it may be a lemon, I may not like it, but damn if it's going to stop me. We're going to get excited and we're going to make a difference. And no matter, and I've been through recessions, and I'll tell you something, Ted, this is an important point. Even through recessions, cars are sold. The question is, are you getting your percentage? Are you out prospecting? Are you out talking to people? Even during the pandemic, people had to have cars serviced. Did you go out and work people to come into your dealership because your service facility is open? The people that are out here that get the mission and get the opportunities, even with it being a limit initially, are the ones who do well. And that's what this industry is about. And the better ones really shine. And resiliency is really our motto. It's our theme. And God bless the industry for being that way, because it's a fun business to be around people who never allow negatives to hang very long in their life. And let's move on and make it a positive day.
Don, I want to ask you a little bit about vehicle software. We've had a lot of discussion at the Fixed Ops Roundtable about all the changes that have happened, that are happening now, and that are coming. And looking at that model, because ultimately, a lot of dealers figure that's going to become and is now a big issue. And I know at the association level, that's something that you and your peers are championing and looking at and guiding the dealers on. Talk to us a little bit about vehicle software and the profits, who gets that, and maybe what some of your concerns and some of your feelings are there.
I think in a perfect world, manufacturers thought, and maybe desire to be a little bit like Mr. Musk, meaning I control that, the money all funnels back to me. I'm the owner, I'm the producer, I'm the one who sells them. And so they see this opportunity being made because, as you know, when you buy a Tesla, there's many things in that Tesla don't actually work unless you pay a monthly subscription for those items. And so it's another whole profit center coming in. Many of us, including Virginia, have passed laws dealing with this. I would say some of my peers have done a okay job. I'm not sure why they did it job, and a few have done an outstanding job with it. I am of the opinion that OEMs are not stupid, and they get the game. It may tie them in knots to some degree, but the reality is that somebody has to sell the various options that exist on these cars that become truly optional. And somebody's going to have to sell that. And one thing about our business is we do well with incentives. And who created that? The OEMs did a long time ago. They incentivize us to do things. Even when nothing's moving, they incentivize us, we make it happen. So it doesn't long-term wise meet their needs and their demands in terms of they're going to have to incentivize us. They're going to have to share properly in that. Now, having said that, let me tell you what Republicans and the Virginia General Assembly and Democrats both say when I talk about this issue. I think it's worthy of hearing this. When you tell them that a car that will be sold to them is basically a loaded up car, however, you're going to have to pay an extra $30 a month or $35 a month in order to have various options on that car working. You may get them for free initially to sort of get you excited and whet your appetite for them, and then they shut down, and now you got to pay monthly to do that. It frustrates legislators when they hear this. What? You mean that $600 a month car payment's not going to cover that? No, it is not. You mean I got to pay for my fob to work remotely to start? Yes, it does. My heated seats, this, that, and so forth? Yes, it does. There's a good chance if the OEMs aren't smart about this, they're going to be slammed hard. So OEMs that are listening today, take care of your partners, the auto dealers, and make sure you share with them so that we can come up with some ingenious ways through technology to deliver these services and figure out ways to finance these services, oh, by the way, so the customers can indeed afford them and so forth. And you need us to do that. Do it without us and watch the ire and the anger of legislators nationwide who say, I pay for a fully loaded car, but I only get to use certain features unless I pay extra. That is not sellable. Take care of your car dealers, and we'll make it a pleasant lemonade that you're consuming rather than a lemon.
Don, great advice. Everybody, we're speaking to Don Hall. He's the president and CEO of the Virginia Automobile Dealers Association. Don, last question for today. Here we are in the middle of November, just a week before Thanksgiving. We're in the fourth quarter, looking out over to the balance of 2023 and now preparing for 2024. A lot of folks are putting their plans together. What changes, what fundamental changes do you think dealers will need to make to their business model to be successful, not only next year, okay, but over the next 5 and 10 years? What are some of the things we should be looking out for that we may not be thinking quite so hard about right now? What are the things that we should be concerned about?
Ted, one of the functions of getting older is you become more reflective of life. And as a young person, I would have never related or understood this comment, but maybe young people watching today will. First of all, take a couple minutes with your family and friends and give thanks for what we have as American citizens. As we see the turmoil in this world going on, it's important that we appreciate and understand what we have and oftentimes take for granted. And our responsibility sometimes doesn't set well with us, but we are having to be out in the world and make a difference to help others have the same kinds of freedoms, the freedom of choice that we have. To answer your question specifically, consolidation is here, folks. It's not going to go away. Bigger, one of the few times in life I'll ever admit this, bigger might be better. And bigger is the reality of life. And so for those who are not willing to embrace change, meaning technology, and willing to grow their footprint in terms of their organizations, you know, they're dying on the vine and may not want to recognize that. The fact is that again, people are our greatest asset. And as we continue to grow as an industry, it will change things. Opportunities for ownership may not be the same with publics and so forth, obviously, but opportunities to grow within those organizations is incredible. And to work in different parts of the country, whether it be as a technician, you know, in the parts department or in the sales area and so forth. So they're going to give great opportunities. So I think the thing we have to do is this: recognize that our business is changing rapidly. There's nothing you can do to change that. And you're going to have to be competitive. And today with bigger, they buy a lot of things for less money. They pay for a lot of technology for less money because they're so large. These days, as we know, they even get cars at a different price oftentimes with a lot of OEMs. And so it is harder. So if you're smaller, you're going to have to be on the cutting edge, You're going to have to be able to tell a story as to why coming to your dealership is the place to come to and why it's a unique buying experience and why you give service beyond the sale and what you do in that community matters and things of that sort. But I think more than anything else, I think if I'm going into 24, I want to be really smart. I want to go to NADA and I want to look at some of those folks with those various booths, if you will, and look at things not just to spend money or glitz and glamour, but things that will make me better at what I do. And to put your head in the sand and say, no, my father ran it this way and I'm going to run this way. I'm 65 and I'm going to stay the way I am until my son or daughter takes it over in the next 3 years. You're hurting your son and daughter, folks, if that's your mentality. So go out and embrace the partners who bring in things that make you more effective, efficient, to make the buying experience quicker, more seamless, and to frankly, lack of a better word, more honest, and so forth. I think those kinds of strategies, and recognize that's how you're going to compete in 24. You cannot stay as you have been and assume that it's going to be a great 24. And whether we have product issues, we have union strikes or whatever else, there are cars and trucks still being sold. And you, with the right attitude, the right workforce, the right mentality, the right philosophy, and so forth, can and will do more than your fair share, even in the toughest of times. So 24 will be a great year for this industry. And again, on behalf of Ted and myself, all of us, we wish we could be your age in a business that is evolving so rapidly, because it's exciting times going forward. And 24 will be a great year in the auto industry.
Don Hall, a breath of fresh air, a great friend of the dealer. Don, on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, I want to wish you and your family a happy Thanksgiving next week. And thank you for all you do for our industry.
To you as well. Thank you.
Everybody, Don Hall, he's the president and the CEO of the Virginia Automobile Dealers Association, here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Hello, my name is Julie Douglas, president of Dealer Pay. For more than 20 years, we've been working exclusively with dealers to process electronic transactions. We've developed a dealer-specific payments and point-of-sale solution designed to help dealers be more profitable, productive, and successful. The reason our solutions have been proven effective is that we understand the dynamics of accepting payments in each department and can offer customized solutions that guarantees to exceed your expectations. Our point-of-sale solutions provide customers with multiple ways to pay. With a strong emphasis on both security and modern technology, we cover all aspects of the purchase and the last experience your customer has in the dealership. It's important to us that your customers are satisfied and your dealership is properly funded for every sales transaction. We are advocates for dealers and recommended in the industry. Let us help you get set up with a seamless transition. Contact me directly. Julie Douglas, Dealer Pay. Fast, organized, secure.
We are Fixed Ops Digital, Automotive's premier service marketing and technology company, and creators of the industry's first and only website service experience platform, Spark. We offer fully compliant fixed operations pages and coupon designs unique to every OEM. Our Why Service Here website page and video highlight what makes your dealership unique: certified technicians, OEM parts, online service scheduling, and complimentary amenities. Complete the online service funnel and bring customers to your scheduler with service conversion pages. Each offer on your menu page links to a page specifically designed to educate the consumer while increasing appointment conversion rates. Repair financing integrations for Sunbit and Dignify, so your customers can see as low as payment options directly on the offers. When customers save an offer to their mobile device, a prompt to enter their contact information appears, turning them into a service department lead. Bring in customers who need recall service and collect vehicle data. We've created a recall lookup through license plate numbers. No VIN necessary. With Spark, your service offers can automatically post to your Google Business profile. Our social ads are dynamic, so your ad prices automatically update with your offer menu pages. Dynamic ads mean more consistency across channels for clearer messaging. Just press play. Introducing interactive video by Fixed Ops Digital. Take your service website visitors on a journey to learn more about your core offerings, recommended maintenance intervals, the importance of certified service centers, and why your dealership is the right choice. Spark has over a year's worth of industry-leading GA4 data, Fixed Ops Digital is a founding member of the Automotive Standards Council for GA4 events, and we're dedicated to helping give dealerships a deeper understanding of their website's customer engagement. Data-driven offers management means more service conversions, the lifeblood of what we do. Ready to increase your dealership's service conversions? Connect your fixed operations departments to Spark, the industry's first and only website service experience platform.
If your dealership is leaking profits and you don't know why, you need more than data. You need Vision AST. Vision AST is a single solution analytics platform engineered to uncover critical information from your DMS. Using real-time data to drive profit from every department is what we do. And with Vision AST, just log in on any device and your KPIs are right at your fingertips. You can't manage what you can't measure. Take control of your dealership's profits with Vision AST.
Don't be stuck swimming in a paper. It's time to break free with an electronic solution from Reynolds and Reynolds.
Yeah, no. 7,766 customer pay. Hi, good morning.
Hey,
Hi,
Ness.
Sarah.
Great to see you.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi,
Good to see
Wes.
you as
Awesome
well.
to see you this morning.
Thanks.
How's
the Odyssey?
Oh, it's great. You know, I just drove it in, and I couldn't help but notice when I was pulling around with your service team, when your advisor was checking in my car, I noticed that y'all had some process in place that I'd never seen before. And it looked like y'all were doing something where you were documenting some of the damage that was on my vehicle. Of course, I'm a mom and things happen. But can you tell me a little bit about what I saw today?
Sure. No apologies for being a busy mom, though. So, yeah, actually, Wes from Reynolds, we were just talking about this, and when you pull in, our service consultants do a walk around of your vehicle, and part of that process is documenting any damage that's on the vehicle. And we were just going over this repair order here. You can see one of our service consultants had noted damage on the right side of this vehicle as well as some other places. We've been able to recall this document through Reynolds tool called IDM, Integrated Document Management. And so this was done, when was this done? The 3rd, ago. Yeah, a few days ago, sure. A few days ago. And this customer had a concern about damage. So we were able to pull this document up digitally from a scanning process and show that when the car was brought into our service drive, that damage was documented.
And you bring up some very good points. We're able to, the old CYA factor, right? We all know sometimes customers maybe miss things that were on their vehicle the last time. But as Rich said, we've documented that. The nice thing is we can save time, paper, storage costs, those types of things at the end of the process by just taking a stack of the repair orders, putting a simple barcode scan sheet on it, putting it in scanner. Everything scans all at once, front and back page, up to 80 pages a minute.
Wow.
And now they're taking advantage of getting rid of paper.
Rich, I can imagine, I think about my car and sometimes I don't go on the passenger side or I don't notice that ding or see that scuff that happened.
A busy mom?
Oh, yes, right? Well, I imagine this has to be a big cost savings for the dealership too. Could you tell me a little bit about what you're seeing when it comes to these digital repair orders?
Well, it hits a couple of key areas. First and foremost, it's digitally stored, so dealerships traditionally have a big, huge file room with 3 years worth of repair orders and files, and
or even more in some instances.
Yeah, depending on state laws, it could be up to 7 years. So there's a massive bit of storage that's not necessary anymore. And once those things are off-site, they have to be stored in secure, hurricane-proof, waterproof, fireproof storage facilities. It's not inexpensive. So this eliminates the need for that. It is a very streamlined process. You can see it only takes up about this much of a footprint, so it doesn't require a huge amount of space. One PC, one scanner, and we're a pretty busy store. And the lady that we have taking care of this for us is a part-time spends her time as a receptionist for us, and then part-time scanning. So we're able to keep a very busy dealership fully scanned with one person part-time. So it's very cost-effective in those ways.
Well, Wes, and I'm sure you get this question quite a bit because dealerships are busy operations and there's a lot going on. So
Absolutely.
How easy is it to really use the system?
I mean, it's super easy. If I were one of Rich's service advisors, I'd simply be doing my regular job. Customer comes in, they drop their car, and they're like, hey, you know, Wes, I'm getting ready to sell my car. I need some documentation that I've actually had it serviced here on a regular basis. So it's super easy. Advisor can go in, recall the customer by name, number, lots of different ways, and then they can simply go into all the service history related to that vehicle for that customer. They can recall it, they can email it, they can print it. The whole idea here is to eliminate paper, keep it digitally, keep it secure, and just be able to help with the customer experience and help the dealer with eliminating costs.
And this can be used by more than just the service department, right?
Yes, it's very helpful. Our service advisors are able, like if a customer comes in and has a WIO, we're able to pull up the WIO and without going to a file room, calling our F&I department, you know, anything like that. We can recall, we can call up a WIO, we can call up the previous repair orders, the inspection, the multi-point inspections. If they purchased, one of the common things is if they purchase a battery over the counter from our parts department and then they need that to, we can recall parts invoices from them. It's huge time savings versus sending one of our staff to a file room to go retrieve a hard copy, and we'll see them in about 3 days. So it brings a lot of efficiency and productivity to what I can speak to most, our service department, but I know it helps, you know, greatly in F&I, accounting, things like that too as well.
Well, Rich, I know that a lot of things in the dealership are going to a digital format, but sometimes, you know, it can be difficult to convince everybody to come on board with that. Would you ever consider going back to a more manual way of doing this?
It is a dramatic difference in the operations. First through efficiency, you know,
absolutely,
being able to pull this stuff up on demand, and then, you know, this is in lieu of a massive filing room. So if you combine all those things, it really doesn't make any sense to do anything else at this point.
Well, Rich, Wes, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with my car today. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me a little bit more about it.
Well, we'll take good care of you today. Thanks.
F&I deal documents, parts invoices, repair orders, and payroll documents are generated every day in your dealership. They are created in one department, but by the time they are ready to be archived or destroyed, they have traded hands multiple times. Along the way, they get added to bigger stacks of paper, get damaged, get misplaced, get replaced, and hopefully get filed away. But then you need one of those documents. Someone has to go find it, digging through files and boxes in the hopes the document is where it is supposed to be. In the meantime, your employees are waiting, your customers are feeling forgotten, and your documents have become a giant web of frustration. Things don't have to be like this. Now, documents can be electronically archived the instant they are created without having to print and scan them. The web of frustration is gone, reducing mountains of paperwork to digital documents that can easily be viewed, printed, emailed, and exported straight from your system. Your employees will have all the access to the information they need wherever they are in the dealership, streamlining your operations and removing the burden of paper from your business. For more information on integrated document management, call 888-875-3563.
Our revolutionary pop-up events have sparked a new wave of growth and innovation.
Become part of the brand that is shaping retail fixed operations at FixedOpsRoundtableCertified.com.
It's time to put our superpowers to the test and work together to find the missing hours with John Traver from Traver Connect.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. A lot of people tell me they look forward to the first day of the event because John Traver, the Chief Executive Officer of Traver Connect, is going to be imparting some wisdom and giving us his perspective on the business. And John, today is no exception. Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Ted, it is so good to be here, and thank you for having us as always. Good to see everybody joining the fort, the TED Talks of the week. I'm underdressed though, right? I'm out of costume. I love the Avengers theme. Love it.
Well, I have a feeling you're somehow going to make up for that. So
you don't want to see me in tights and, a headband, but I'm going to do the best I can today. I'm really excited about this message, but man, we are excited at this stage of the year, where we're at, what's happening in the industry, and really what's happened with the Fixed Ops Roundtable of these last years. It's incredible, isn't it?
John, I never expected this type of interest and growth, and there's so much now to fixed operations that I could not even have imagined 4 or 5 years ago. So thank you for all that you do to help get us to this point, John, and be a pillar of the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
We're just one part, and we're thankful to be here. So thanks for that. Appreciate it.
You're getting great raves, by the way, at Traver Connect. I'm hearing about you throughout the industry more and more. So congratulations on the success that you're having.
Thank you. Well, surrounded by a lot of good people, so that's a good sign. Thank you for that. Well, if you're ready to rumble, I am as well. You want to do this?
Let's go.
Can I put you on the spot this time? I mean, I don't know what your Avenger, IQ is, Ted, but I love where you went with this one. And so, you may or may not be able to answer these. So here's the thing. I'm your landline today, okay?
Okay.
I'll walk you through this. So just a few simple questions, because I figure if I can put you on the spot first, then I can put our audience on the spot as we get rolling today. So I'm going to use you as my beta to get started. How many rings Captain America, the famous Captain America, Ted, would you guess how many rings are on his shield? Just take a guess.
On the shield.
On the shield.
2.
Ted, you apparently have the answers to the quiz because you're already out of the game here. 2.
No.
You got the 2 red rings, okay?
No, John, I saw Sarah Vantine dressed up as Captain America, so I just referred to the picture.
So you're just looking at the shield, Sarah sporting the shield. Okay, so the Hulk, his real name, Ted, and you should remember this from the old Hulk series. The real name, not the actor's name, but the name.
I was going to say Lou Ferrigno. No,
yeah, not Lou, but what's
not Bill Bixby?
It's Dr. No, you want to help? Dr. Bruce Banner.
Oh,
Dr. Bruce Banner. Yes. So we got Dr. Bruce Banner. And then third question is the Infinity Stones. That's kind of what the Avengers is all about, right? Chasing the Infinity Stones. How many are there? You want to take a stab?
6.
Yeah. See, you're sandbagging on me. See, you definitely have retail experience.
No, John, we've actually been promoting the event so long that I've seen the videos with the stones, and I counted them a few weeks ago. I said, if anyone ever asks me, I'll know how many there are. So
my gut is the retail is coming out of you right now. I don't know any, and here you go, you bang 2 out of 3 right out of the gate. Yeah, naturally. So here's what we have. We have these Infinity Stones, and why would I even go there to start today? Well, the theme is, with these Infinity Stones, there's all different purposes, right? You got soul and mind and power and time. And well, with Fixed Ops, we have our own mission. And this is such a great segue that Ted and the team have set up for us. And they're having a little bit of fun, but also being able to really squeeze the lemon and grow our organizations. And so what we're going to focus on is the time stone. That's the one over there on the thumb that we're chasing. And, we look at the average shop, and obviously shops don't look like this, but there are stalls that are open. And so we're looking for lost time, lost vehicles that could be in our shop through today's message. And obviously with Traver, we're bringing a message around business development, Ted. So what I want to do first is, Peter Drucker said this years ago. He said, you want to pay attention to the bend in the trend. And I love watching for this stuff. I share this occasionally with the audience. And here is historical, there shouldn't be a dollar sign there. These are actual numbers of repair orders by year, 297 million repair orders in 2015, U.S. industry per NADA in its data book that rolls out every spring. You're familiar with this. We broke the 300 million mark in 16, 2017, 2018, went back a little bit, but still over 300 million, 2019, and then COVID happened in 2020. And you might remember, Ted, I had done a show with you on this, and I talked a little bit about the pendulum swinging back. So the bend in the trend was 2020, right? The other thing that happened, though, during that time is the dollar spent per RO, which would be a blend of customer pay, warranty pay, okay? And they're usually about $10 apart in the NADA book. They're usually not that far off. So we'll usually do like a right in the middle, we'll do an average. And so you're sitting at mid 200s, a little north of that in 2015. By the time we get to 2017, we're over $300 a repair order. By the time we get to 2020, though, we're in the mid 300s. So that trend is going up. During the same time, we have our RO count that goes down. So we take actual ROs written for the year divided by number of stores posted by NADA. And so you see this trend that works its way up into the 1500s per month, repair orders written. And then, of course, we get into the pandemic year and you're in the mid 1300s, low 1300s. What I want to call out, though, Ted, is the delta between 2020 and 2019. There's 47 million repair orders that weren't written that year. Wow. And what was interesting is when I did the show in the summer, I had the through June numbers of 2020, and we were at 125 million ROs that were on the books. And that might have been like the August or September show. So I assumed we'd be somewhere mid 200s when we finished the year, and we were. So we were at 265. So I just assumed these 47 million would come back. And when you start to stack this up, I said, okay, well, let's look at what's happened since 2020. So you got the 2015 to 2019 column there, which is 310 million average, 1,500 ROs a month per store. Then you got 2020 at 265, right? 1,300 a month per store. 2021, we climbed by 6 million ROs, which was less than I thought it would be. I thought we would come swinging back and we'd have a similar RO count or approaching it. Then you get 2022. Ted, we went backwards. 6 million. Did you realize this?
No.
We went backwards 6 million ROs. So you go, well, at some point, the music's got to come back. Where are those ROs? And in 2023, right now, I looked at our through June numbers for our industry that we're all in. Everybody that's watching, we're in this space. We know the future is fixed. We're already in the future. And we're our run rate right now. We're at 134 million ROs and change through June 30th. So call that 135 times 2 is 270. Your run rate for 23 is 270, gang. So what I'm saying to you is we're still short 40 million ROs. That's 13% of the market. That's going to affect our stores. So the lost stone, whereas we're looking for lost opportunity, lost time, lost revenue, you're going to find that it's here. So that's about 1,300 ROs. It's very interesting to see how it parallels what's happened in the COVID year. So when you stack this up, we're down 40 million. The average RO price, though, what we're seeing on our ROs is in the 400s now. We're at 445 year to date per NADA. So that's strong. Okay. And again, those of you that are maybe a low volume store, maybe a domestic store versus a luxury store, you got to remember this is a blended average. Okay. Sure. So now I want to apply this to our audience. This is a very important part of this message. So what does this mean to you? You're running a service department. You're a fixed ops director. You have multiple departments. What it means is a couple things. As the ROs decrease, okay, what you're going to find is even though the value per RO is going up, look at what we have over here. We have $301 during that 4 or 5 year period at 1,500 ROs a month. You're generating just under 500 grand, 460 grand a month in gross in revenue, about $5.5 million a year in each shop. The next year, we go backwards almost 200 ROs plus, right, per month. We go up $50 an RO and we grow. We grow by a little bit, not a lot, but we still grew. The next year we go backwards, or I'm sorry, we go up 6 million. So we jump back up to here. We jump up another $40 here. But Ted, what happened here is we jumped a full 1.7 million in growth in those 2 years. So we grew in RO count, we grew in dollars. I wonder, the question I'm asking is, what would happen if there was something that we could be doing now to impact that kind of growth 23 going into 24? That's what you asked us to do, right? Look for lost opportunities.
Correct.
What's happening this year, Ted, is you're going to see us go backwards for the first time since COVID. The numbers right now say the average shop will write 7 million, which is less than the 7.6. And if you look at the trend, we grew year over year the last 3 years. Why did we all of a sudden go backwards? It's about $600,000, 590 grand a month. It's about 580,000 in lost revenue. The average year growth is 3 to 4%, except for the COVID year. Obviously, that's kind of an outlier, the 30%, right? Because you're growing over a weird year. But we're still missing 40 million ROs. So for those that are in your audience, Ted, that are watching the show today, how do we recover these lost hours, right? Whether you're a dealer, general manager, FOD, service manager, BDM, you're saying, where's the money? How do we find those lost hours that cost us precious revenue? I can think of, from a business development perspective, Ted, there's a handful of areas, right?
Yes.
I want to call those out, and I think I'm going to just pick a few that I can hammer away on today, and we'll see if we can't get more out of what we got. One is missed calls. Definitely missed calls.
Oh, yeah.
Safe to say not everybody's catching all the calls. Fair statement?
Oh, more than fair.
Okay. So we got missed calls. So that's an obvious one. The second one is appointment show rates, right?
Okay.
Then you got time mileage, right? You have shop loading, which is my little black box that just popped up there. I'm not sure why. And then you have updating customer records. So the big five: missed calls, shop loading, right? When we're actually putting jobs in, show rates, time mileage recommendations, and updating customer records. I want to pick three, Ted.
Okay.
So the first one I want to pick is missed calls. And what you'll see is, if you study this, you'll see the averages 19 to 26% are missed calls in this industry today. So we have a manufacturer that we're closely working with, have been for, 9 years. And we have macro data as we look at their installed dealers, 4,000 plus dealers. And the standard that they have for missed calls is 10%. They have a scorecard that goes out to their retailers every month, every quarter. And the standard is you can't miss more than 10%, which implies that's sort of a breaking point. In other words, we understand you're going to miss some, but that being said, I want to show you some quick data. If 19 to 26% of incoming service calls are missed, and you look at the 23 data from NADA, 1,300 ROs a month, I'm going to use 20%. I'm going to start on the low end of that 19 to 26. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, so 20% would be 265 missed opportunities a month. Now, I'm not sure if you'd convert every opportunity as the call comes in, but I want to show you something else. 265 opportunities at 22 days it's a lot of missed opportunities.
Yeah.
But what I did here is, Ted, I kind of crossed out the 12 a day. That's 12 a day. I said, okay, let's just cut that in half. What if it's just 6 a day? For those that are doubters in the audience, let's do the math on 6 a day. 6 a day, Ted, is $2,600 a day. It's 56 grand a month. At 56 grand a month with 12 months in the year, that's $678,000. Do the math.
And Joe, John, that's only 6 missed calls a day. We know it's far more than that. John.
Correct. You have shops now, you have service drives right now, Ted, that are short 8, 9, 10, 12 cars a day. And now you're seeing what's happening. I'm not sure this message is going to ideally tell you why. Okay, I think there's different theories on that. We could talk supply chain. We can talk cars sold, all that. But the bottom line is those units in operation were there. And they're not coming through our drives, but your phones are ringing. And so there's a certain value for every transaction. Where I would start, if I were you, is making sure you have a process in place to screen and track and look at missed calls. Because 70% of your business written every month is going to pass through the phone. 70%. I haven't seen the trend change yet. Is there an outlier? Could I find this? Absolutely. I think of Brian Benstock's model and how they've kind of cultured Long Island into, but that's not everybody, Ted, right? It's unique. Okay. You bet. And it doesn't, it just, I love looking at the variance, but at the end of the day, do you agree with the math, Ted?
Absolutely.
Yeah. 6 times 4. I mean, you got $2,600. You got 6 a day. You got 22 working days. It's 56 grand a month. There is money sitting on the table.
A lot of money.
So for those stores that are struggling with building a BDC, here's some money on the table that can help you build that BDC. Or if you want to outsource, here's some money that can pay for that. Or if you're doing a hybrid, the bottom line is the barrier to entry is not money. It's awareness, Ted. It's awareness. So we were looking for 590 grand, I think, when we did our little grid there. There's 10%, if instead of 20%, just 10%, half of what we're looking at is 677,000. So when you look here, that 10%, Ted, we've already found our 580 grand of lost revenue with just missed calls. Yeah. So we might not be able to control the amount of cars that are hitting the drive directly as an industry, but we can control the amount of vehicles that are hit our drive based on what we're doing with the opportunity with the phone when it rings. So that's one. I promised you 3, right? The second one is kind of good versus evil, right? It's the appointment no-show losses. This one is an eye-opener. And this is very simple math. And this is one I stumbled on. Okay, so I just want a quick backdrop. Ted, you and I met back in the early 90s at Gulf States. And I was doing work around my original BDC work. And it was all sales focused, right? It was the front end of the store. So I had certain paradigms about show rates with appointments. So as you know, typically on the front end, a 50% show rate is that's a good number, right? That's a good number. But in service, that would be a bad number, a 50% show rate. That would be a bad number of appointment set, right? So as I got involved in building the service BDC, there were some things I didn't know, and I wanted to just relearn and just sort of let the numbers speak to me. And so when I look at centralized calls versus in the drive advisors, let me just say this. The folks that are in the drive have forgot more about service than most centralized teams will ever know. So this isn't about who knows more, okay? This is a function of time. This is a function of time. We're stealing time from the advisors. And when we look at their list of what they do during the day, would you agree, Ted?
Correct. Yes.
It's daunting, right? And so the distractions and the loudspeaker over my head and the customer in front of me as I'm doing this and I'm trying to do this well, look, if you're being realistic, what we do in a call as an SOP, if you do it consistently without distractions, treating that customer like they're the only customer in the world, you're going to find your show rate does change. So what do these numbers actually look like? What they look like is 13% higher show rate. All you do is you take the same calls and you change it to a group of people that's what they do. They do the scheduling as opposed to the drive. And you say, okay, what happens? Well, today, Ted, at Traver Connect, we support 16, I can't believe I'm actually telling you this, 16 different schedulers on just our scheduling team. So under business development, we do more than that, but 16 unique schedulers. Well, we have access to an administrative area where we can see what's going on macro across the US and all these appointments being set. So this is a particular Chevrolet dealership in the Denver market. It's one of our stores, but this is a very typical set of numbers. And what you have is you have appointments that are set by the dealership, anybody that's in the service lane, and the show rate. So if Ted Ings calls in, you talk to me as a service advisor, I put you in CDK or Reynolds or, Techion or whatever.
Sure.
These are the people that actually showed up. So 3/4 of the people are showing up. Over here, it could be their BDC, it could be an outsourced BDC, it could be a hybrid. But when it's set by people that are labeled as call center, because you have a functional name and a role, the show rate is higher. Ted, there are stores that we've watched as high as 30% higher, 30% higher. 20s are very common. So 13%, I don't want anybody to look at this and think, well,
sure,
stretch. So what does that look like? Let me just break this down real simple, a few words as possible. You ready? For every 100 calls you take and schedule an appointment, there are 13 additional vehicles in your lane. That's the English. So if you're averaging 400 an RO times 13, you can do the math pretty quick. Where your calls are getting answered does make a difference. And what I mean by where is not physically where, but by who, right? What their discipline is. 1,300 ROs a month. What I would tell you is this: 70% of your ROs are going to be a phone call. So that'd be about 900 plus in the case of today's average. So every 100, like I say, plus 13 times today's numbers, that's 5,800 bucks, 22 working days. That's 53 grand a month. But here's the other thing. It's an additional 121 ROs this month. And you're still got a 12-month year, right? So 121 times 12, that's an extra 1,400 ROs a year. So here's what I'm calling out. If you look at this and you look at the average ROs per month, no matter what your store, you're going to find you have a 13th month.
It's an extra month, yeah.
In every store. In every store, no matter how small or big or medium you are, that 13% adds up. So it's a found month of ROs, but the biggest thing, I think, is the freed up advisors. You're giving them back that 2 hours, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, adding up. They're able to take care of customers. So appointment no-shows is the second one, right? So when we look at the grid, we were looking for 580 grand. That 13% found us another 646.
Wow.
So there's another
starting to add up, John.
It's adding up. It is. That's the math in you coming out. The third one, Ted, is the lost hours from the scheduling process. So I see a little something funky happening on the PowerPoint. I'm not sure what's going on here, but that's okay. So you've seen Shark Tank, right, Ted?
Yes, sir.
You've seen Cuban where he looks at a deal and he listens and he watches the other sharks do their thing. And then he says to the poor soul, he says, look, I love your energy. I love your idea, but my time is worth more than, you remember what he says? My money. Therefore, what does he say? I'm out. And what I would say is this: in the scheduling process, the time of the consumer and our time should be considered heavily. And so what I want to table here is this: doing a recommended time mileage statement in the call, every call. Ask the customer for the miles. Make sure this is an SOP for your calls, or whoever's handling your calls does this. Have a basic opcode, rotate, filters, K services. That's it. But what we're trying to do is alert the customer that there is scheduled maintenance that's likely needing to be done. And once that seed is planted, 1/3 of your customers will say yes. 2/3 will defer. When they get to the service lane, Ted, you've done an incredible amount of training in the service drive. And they're going to, if they're doing this properly, are they not going to do the exact same thing? They're going to walk the vehicle, they're going to pull miles, and they're going to come back and make the same recommendation.
Sure.
For today's consumer, that consistency builds trust. But when you do it on the phone, Ted, what happens is most customers come into the call light. And what we mean by that is, I just need an oil change. And so we go express lane. You actually don't need an appointment or whatever, but they ask for something light. And what we're doing, you see too often in this space, is order taking. We make no recommendations at all. You go to the dentist, they tell you when it's time for your x-rays, right? Because even though cavity isn't fun, it's a lot easier than a root canal. And I would say the same is true in service. Maintenance is way cheaper than repair.
Yeah.
But the customer, because we don't say this on the call, they get to the drive and now they're first hearing about a 30K. But they're already thinking 30 to 60 minutes. And so they'll ask you, well, can you do that in 30 to 60 minutes? And of course you say, not even with a NASCAR pit crew, right? I can't do a 30K in the middle of the day. I mean, I can tell you I can try, but we already kind of have the day loaded, right? And so we lose hours there. So it's about 1/3 of an hour, okay, that you're looking at in today's labor rate market. And all you're doing is making a time mileage recommendation. So the lost hours, when you do the math, that same process, 1,300 ROs, 70% calls. So I'm just counting this on just the calls. If each time all you do is say, great, happy to help you with whatever they ask for. Let me do this. Can I get the mileage currently so I can check and see if there are any bulletins, recalls, or recommended maintenance, so at least you know. So I'm not selling you, I'm just telling you, Ted. That's all I'm doing in this call. And then my system, if your system is set up right, you should do this process. And you should keep the opcode small. Don't build a don't build a long menu where it's all this, that's not what we're doing here. This is just kind of maintenance minded. What else do they need? And what you'll find is the recommendations are very obvious. The customer appreciates it. You tell them, you ask them, they're going to sometimes ask price, and you go ahead and just start writing a couple lines in that RO before they ever get there. Now service is teed up, and you're going to find that your customer pay revenue is already in the queue. Tully will love this, right? We're selling hours before they even get
all over it. Yeah.
Right. So a third of an hour, we trying to say, look, just think small. You're going to beat these numbers, but just think small. Just think maintenance, real simple stuff. 900 ROs at $55 is 51 grand again. It's another 600 grand, Ted. It's fascinating to me. And again, this was an area that we kind of stumbled on over the last decade and a half doing this. So 55, we were looking for 580, there's 612. So what I want to say is this, I'm not a math major, but you mentioned this before, so I'm going to align with you. Missed calls, we found 677 grand with 10%, right? We said 10%. Appointment show rate, 13% delta, there's 646.
Wow.
Return on time pre-selling, 612. That's $1.9 million, Ted. That's $1.9 million. You
$2 million, Shawn. Well,
$2 million. $2 million. And you said we want to avenge time. We want to avenge lost opportunities. I hope we got some people thinking today. It's sitting right there in front of us, Ted. We got to do better with what we already have. The 40 million, I don't have a short answer for that. There's a bunch of answers, but we can get to work on what's already coming through on the phones.
John, you've done the math and you've done the homework. Wow. 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 You brought it all together here.
It is a wow. It is a wow.
You found us a lot of hours. A lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I know there's a number of stores that are leaning on technology per se to solve the calls. And I think that's a good journey. I don't know that I found a lot of stores that have said, hey, look, that's solved everything for us. The fact that they're still calling begs the question, what are we doing about it? Right? We should build up an initiative around those phones ringing. Always a pleasure, Ted.
There's nobody who does it like John Traver, everybody. John Traver is the CEO of Traver Connect, helps so many dealers around our country, expert on the phone for a long time, and on top of all the trends and things that are happening, as you can see, he has helped us find quite a few hours and avenged those hours. John Traver at Traver Connect, traverconnect.com. You can see down below in the scroll, easy way to contact them on their website. John's email is on there as well. And John, just fantastic and very well done.
Well, thank you. Let's have a great week. You have a heck of a lineup. And then can I wish you a happy Thanksgiving as well as our Fort community. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys, your families. What an incredible year it's been together. And you've led us well, Ted. Thank you for what you do.
Well, John, I tell you, I look forward to this, and I know many look forward to this. So, John Traver, everybody, we refer our friends and family to John Traver at Traver Connect. So, any questions, always feel free to contact me as well, and I'll give you the straight scoop. But they do it well, and they do it all the time. John Traver, everybody, from Traver Connect, here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, my friend.
Hi, John Traver here at Traver Connect. Thanks for joining us on our Service BDC video today. If you've already partnered with us, we appreciate your partnership over these past years. If you're new to us, we look forward to getting to hear your story and come alongside you relative to Service BDCs. When you hear the term Service BDC, the first word for me that comes to mind is calls. That's what really a Service BDC is going to be built around, both inbound and outbound calls. Those calls are going to load your shop, it's going to drive your RO count, and ultimately, it's going to tee up your next retail unit. One reason the Service BDC is so successful today, so important today, is it has a massive amount of opportunity in the form of those incoming calls. The cell phone changed everything. It's increased the amount of calls to dealerships, and as a result, we have to have a team of people centralized to take those calls. It's always been busy in service, but today when you ask dealers, they tell you they need help.
With only 3 service writers, it's virtually impossible for my service writers to load the shop effectively and efficiently in order to keep my shop full.
The second thing I'd be thinking about if I were you is, what do my calls sound like? What is our statement of work in those calls? Are we asking for email, address, phone number? Do we use a time and mileage approach to make sure we're pre-selling to any additional needs, or are we just order taking and then trying to take care of the customer when they get there and tell them we need their car all day? So what you want to do is establish a clear roadmap for how your calls are going to be handled. We'll help you do that, whether it's virtually here through our BDC or we do it with your team at your dealership. So perhaps you're like some dealers, when they hear us talk about centralizing the calls here in Dallas, Texas, they wonder what that call might sound like.
One thing I like about Traver is that my customers feel as though they're dealing with someone within my own store. I've had several customers come to my store and ask to speak to Chelsea when my people that realize Chelsea doesn't work there, she actually works in the call center in Dallas.
I have you scheduled for the recall. Was there anything else?
Let me tell you, you're like the most professional person I've ever spoken to, I think.
My pleasure.
Good job.
Thank you.
No, I'm serious. I'm being completely serious. No, we don't need anything else. That was great.
You have a wonderful day.
Okay, you're doing a great job. You sound good on the phone. So
Oh,
when I see Herb, I'll tell him he's a great person on the phone.
We're built for service BDCs, 60,000 square feet of workstations and personnel trained to take inbound calls. There's a handful of ways we can help you. We can help you with a virtual service BDC where we take your calls. We can help you with outbound campaigns, filling in those open spots in your schedule, turnkey, not just getting the customer to call, but actually taking the call and loading it in your scheduler. 3, training for your business development manager, for your business development rep. How do they take these calls? We'll bring them into our customer experience center if they're a BDM, or we'll provide online training for those BDRs. Leadership education for you. You're wondering, what are my KPIs? What should my staffing plan be? We can walk you through this in less than a day. And then tools, everything from texting, mobile payments, even in-dealership software to help your BDRs. So hopefully you see we're built for service BDCs. This is what we do, not what we talk about, and we hope to be talking to you soon.
Filmed live from our pop-up event at Northwood University is an interview with Brian MacDonald, President and CEO of CDK Global, with Ted Ings and Sarah Vantine.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. I'm Sarah Vantine here with Ted Ings and Brian MacDonald. We are at Northwood University, and Ted, there is a lot of excitement going on this week.
Sarah, you could feel it in the air. This is the Super Bowl at Northwood, and no one better to have with us than Brian MacDonald from CDK Global. Brian, welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Ted. It's great to be with you here in a beautiful fall day in Northwood.
Yeah, and great to meet you in person finally.
Absolutely.
And Brian, thank you for so much that CDK Global does for our industry.
You're welcome.
So let's talk about this. Let's kind of set the stage. As you mentioned, we're here at Northwood University. This is not just any particular day. We're at the 60th Annual International Auto Show, all student run. We've been hearing from a lot of folks. Tell us a little bit more about CDK's involvement and commitment here at Northwood.
Well, first and foremost, CDK has 50 so active employees who are alumni of Northwood, so we have a very good base of employees that have a really strong connection to the university. On top of that, CDK has been a gold sponsor for roughly 8 years, and really we work very closely with the school. And last year, we're super excited to donate $100,000 for scholarships for kids. And stay tuned for the rest of the day. We'll have some more announcements in terms of CDK's support for Northwood.
Yeah, I know CDK is doing so much on that level as well. And, we heard even last night, those scholarships go such a long way, for the students entering our industry and being involved in our industry.
Oh, I think what I love about the automotive industry, and I've worked across a number of industries, is I don't think there's an other industry that's lifted more people up than the auto industry. I grew up in the coal mining town. I can assure you, coal mining did not lift up many people, okay? And when I think about automotive, you think about the careers that were created for people. Some of the most prolific entrepreneurs in the country came up through automotive. You think about the entrepreneurship in auto tech. We see it in our space all the time. So this is a fantastic industry for young people and women to join. It's a way for people to move ahead. We all know education is a way to move ahead. And so when you combine what Northwood has, education and automotive, I think it's just fantastic in terms of a way for people to move forward.
Brian, it is so inspiring to see all the ways that CDK Global is really attracting and mentoring all of these young people and future professionals in the automotive industry. Can you speak into a little bit more about some of the exciting ways that CDK Global is really inspiring and creating some of these programs?
Well, first of all, we start with what will help our customers. So our customers are dealers. How do we help dealers sell and service more cars? That's our mission in life. And then we kind of go to how do we help our employees, whether it's developing the software, deploying the software, making sure people at the dealerships know how to use it in the most efficient and effective way for the dealership's guest and guest experience. And so we really start with that view, and then we look at our employees and we say, how can we upskill them? How can we better fit them for that world? And like Wayne Gretzky used to say, not where the puck is today, but where the puck is going, right? There's a lot of changes in our business. The expectations of the retail consumers are changing. Our dealers are adapting to that. Our OEMs are adapting to that. Yesterday, I spent the whole day at a very large OEM. There's just a lot of exciting things going on, and everybody is trying to get to where the puck is going, not to where the puck is today.
Sarah, when Brian was on the roundtable most recently, and I didn't know this until you and I spoke, I didn't realize the reach that CDK Global has in terms of more than half of all repair orders at dealerships are open on CDK Global's platform. I mean, the reach you've got is just spectacular.
Well, I always like to tell our employees that we're a company that matters in an industry that matters. We know the auto industry matters, and we're a company that matters to that industry. So 2.6% of the gross domestic product of the United States flows through our systems. So say that again. 2.6% of the gross domestic product of the United States flows through our systems. 53%, depending when you measure it, of the repair orders in North America flow through our systems. 53% of the cars sold in North America are sold on our systems. So we matter. We're integral to the way the industry works. If you think about the auto industry, you have OEMs, you have dealers, and you have retail customers who buy the vehicles from the dealers. Who's in the middle of that for 50% plus of those transactions? CDK is in the middle of all those transactions. So that's why we matter. We have an obligation to the industry. We're in business, everybody's in business, but we have an obligation to this industry to help the industry move to where the puck is going.
You've got a great obligation as well, and you're so forward-thinking. I see on the different initiatives many that we've seen announced. I know you have a lot that are coming as well. Speak to us a little bit about that, because the industry is changing. In addition to developing the talent, which are the people, and you're so right, amazing opportunities for the people in this industry. There's so much technology, and it's happening at a rapid pace, so much change happening.
Yeah, no, appreciate that question, Ted. So, over the last year, we've deployed software that allows the dealers to shrink the time to purchase a vehicle down to 30 minutes. So we're very focused on working with our dealers to streamline the buying experience. And for modern retail, how do we streamline the buying experience? How do we let customers do more online before they come to the store, as much as they want to do that they're comfortable with? How do they go into a store and then pick up the transaction where they left off in a seamless way, and really meet the needs of those customers who want to do more at home and less in the store? So that's been a big initiative for us. We just rolled out an improved appointment tool, a service appointment tool. We very quickly ramped up to 1,800 dealerships on that. So we've been super excited about that. And then the last thing we just rolled out in July that we're very excited about and getting a lot of great feedback from our dealers on is we rolled out our dealership experience platform. So no longer are we selling products, we're selling suites. And most dealers have, this, you worked in retail, most dealers will have 12 to 15 add-on solutions. And they're jumping from one screen to another, one password to another. And so we wrapped this together to have an experience platform that will let the dealerships run their business, one login, one set of screens, and really drive a different type of experience for those dealership employees so they can be more efficient. So we're super excited about the dealership experience platform. And quite frankly, we're upgrading our current customers as they come up for renewal without a cost for the installation of that. Installation's free of charge for the rollout of that, and we're rolling it out to both new customers and customers upon renewal of their contracts for us. So super excited on that. And then we have some great new things coming with eLeads this month, actually. And then I would encourage everybody to join us later this month for CDK Connect, which is our annual event where we talk about the state of the company and some new things we're bringing to the industry. And that's coming up in the next couple of weeks. So I want to use your platform to encourage everybody to tune in for that in a couple of weeks.
Thank you. Sarah, Brian has just gone down probably a hierarchy of so many of the important things in our industry, starting with time of transaction at the dealership and making it convenient and using all the tools available, Sarah, even before the customer gets to the dealership.
Well, Brian, it is incredible to hear all of the ways that you're innovating the customer experience with your technology. And also, it's so exciting to think about the way that you're impacting our future generations at Northwood University. All of these initiatives are so important, Ted.
Brian, any last thoughts? Here we are at Northwood, very forward thinking. I know we have a lot of big events going on. CDK is very, very prominent here, as we look out into the balance of the year and into the beginning of the new year.
I just would close with this is a super exciting industry, great future. If you don't have involvement with Northwood, great school, they do lots of things. If there's a way that Northwood can help you, it'll be great. We work with Northwood in many ways. And we, CDK, we know how important we are to your business. You're working at a dealership, you're watching this, we know how important we are for you and your business. And we know when you're with the retail customer, whether it's in service or the front office, you're relying on us. We appreciate your business, and we're working every day to help you sell and service more cars.
And Brian, on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, thank you so much for your commitment to Fixed Ops and the Fixed Ops retail community.
Thanks, Ted.
Very appreciative of that.
Take care. Thank you.
Great opportunity, everybody. Brian MacDonald from CDK Global here with us today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
All right. Life is about connection. Having a support system to lean on. And roads to endless possibility.
Mom.
At every turn, guiding the way, we are building the connections that move you.
Hi, I'm Darren Gresseth, President and CEO of BG Products, and I'm excited to show you why BG Products is the ideal partner for dealerships around the world. For 50 years, BG has led the industry with innovative solutions to automotive challenges, but it takes more than great chemistry to be the industry leader. Today, we have over 50% of the market share among new car dealers in the United States. In fact, an independent study found that 5 out of 6 U.S. dealerships choose BG products over the competition. Our integrity, dedication, and investment in people are at the heart of our continued success. BG maintains the highest standards for quality assurance, environmental management, laboratory competency, and health and safety management through our ongoing certification with ISO. Our BG Proving Ground experts are dedicated to field support and advanced automotive testing. The facility includes 9 full-service automotive bays and 3 dynos, which provide real-time data. This comprehensive testing fuels our constant drive toward innovation. From service and parts managers to service advisors and shop technicians, BG is committed to the ongoing training of automotive professionals. Award-winning digital training solutions like BG Certified, the BG Tech app, and the BG Advisor app are available 24/7 in the palm of your hand. BG reps get first-hand experience through our internal training program called BG University at our headquarters in Wichita, Kansas. These reps in turn provide comprehensive training to your staff in person right on your service drive. 30 miles away, sitting on 40 acres in El Dorado, Kansas, are BG's manufacturing facility, distribution center, and tools and parts warehouse. BG's custom-built, one-of-a-kind manufacturing facility spans the distance of 3 football fields and is where high-quality BG products are manufactured and packaged. Just south of Wichita, in Derby, Kansas, our BG Automation Division and Certified Machine Shop manufacture the BG tools and equipment that are a crucial part of each BG service. BG doesn't stop in Kansas. We provide what no other company in our segment can. Dedicated, full-time BG experts in dealerships across the world on a weekly basis. Our BG distributor network spans the globe and is supported by a hard-working corporate team in the Midwest. With award-winning training, unbeatable customer retention programs, and accessible local BG reps, we ensure that BG distributors have everything they need to support you. BG is your partner beyond products.
Take a moment now to pull out your phones to scan the QR code on your screen to vote for the Best Practice Awards that will be announced at the end of this event. Remember, every vote counts, so make sure you put your superpowers to use and vote for the 5 speakers or panelists who you think are heroes of the show. And don't forget, you can only vote once.